The Venusian Chronicles. Fade in. Exterior, interior, Ishi's home, Taos, New Mexico, night. The moon shines on an Earthship home near a hill. Solar panels, attached greenhouse. Through the picture window, Ishi Banesa, 90s, lean, weathered, sleeps in a rocking chair. She has gaunt cheeks with patterned birth dots. A smile graces her face. On TV, 2 astronauts on the moon, an Earthrise in the sky. An electric car pulls up the driveway. Amazonian-looking Ishi Banesa, 42, in professorial garb, gets out. Same markings as Yaris. He plugs the charger into the car. Inside the house, open concept living dining room, kitchen, separated by a bar. A wooden Noah's Ark set on a side table. The door opens, awakens Yaris. Ishi enters, sets down his briefcase, sits next to Yaris. Her dark eyes twinkle at him. On TV, the astronauts with trenching tool and scoop head toward a small hill 400 yards away. Behind that, a mountain. NASA logo in the upper right-hand corner.
They are approaching Mons Moro.
Yaris looks back at the TV.
You can stay awake watching this?
See?
Did you get some sunshine today, grandmother? And your vitamin D?
Yaris nods, glued to the tube. Ishi mumbles.
A waste of billions that could be used for problems here on Earth.
Maybe they find it, Ishi.
Ishi rolls his eyes.
That's a myth. Besides, they're prepping for Mars, not searching.
Close on TV, the astronauts bouncing toward the hill. Exterior, moon, day. A 15-minute jump to real time. Spacesuited astronauts, Anne, 40s, and Jacob, 30s, are at the base of the hill. Interior, NASA Control Center, Houston, night. Anne and Jacob at the hill on the wall screen up front. 5 officers monitor at their consoles. 14 consoles are offline. Art, 50s, is at the director's console in back. Behind him, the dark and empty glassed-off viewing room. Some are yawning. Officer 1 rises, stretching.
Gonna be a long night. Anyone up for coffee?
3 raise their hands, zombie-like. Officer 1 leaves. On the moon, Jacob circles the hill. Anne climbs up, slips a bit. Dirt falls away, revealing glass glinting in the sun.
Over here, there's something.
Interior, Ishi's home, night. Yaris watches on TV the legged repeat of Anne and Jacob 200 yards from the hill. Ishi looks at his watch.
I need to see the news. Channel 8 was at our rally. I probably missed it, unless it comes last, which it probably will.
Yaris is zoned into the TV. Ishi sighs, heads to the kitchen. Exterior, moon, day. A time jump to Jacob climbing the odd-shaped hill. He and Anne dig and dust until they realize the object is a window into the cockpit of an ancient spaceship with panels, controls, and equipment barely visible.
We never crashed here before.
Anne, blown away, shakes her head. They work fearfully, removing dirt and dust, uncovering more. Interior, NASA Control Center, Houston, night. The staff, fully alert, shocked stiff at the spaceship reveal. Officer 1 steps in and drops the coffee tray.
Holy shit, it can't be.
How did it get there?
Cut the feed to NASA TV.
Officer 3 presses a button on his console.
Done. With a lag, people won't see it.
On screen, Anne and Jacob uncover more of the spaceship as Art punches numbers on his phone, his voice edgy.
Nora, something's been uncovered.
Interior, Ishi's kitchen, night. Ishi watches a small TV. Through the bar opening on the large TV, the astronauts reach the base of the hill. On the kitchen TV, a hellish wildfire.
The Ute Park fire is only 30% contained. We now turn to a rally at Taos University. Sylvia.
The TV shifts to co-anchor Sylvia Solis, 40s, at the desk.
Yes, James.
As she speaks, the TV shows a gathering of 12 club members, including George, 20, and Ishi in front of the dining commons, with Sylvia interviewing them MOS as students mill around. Their table banner, TU Environmental Club. Some club members hold homemade cardboard signs. Fight climate change, not wars. There is no planet B.
Students chanted the need to protect Mother Earth. We'll have weather when we return. Another record-breaking warm day.
The TV goes to a truck commercial. Ishi flicks it off.
No mention of climate change?
He traipses into the living room and sits near Yaris. On TV, Anne begins climbing the hill. The TV suddenly switches to Earth views, Earth's slow rotation.
Coverage of the lunar mission will resume later.
Yaris breathes a heavy sigh. Ishi gets up wearily.
Well, I have papers to grade and a chapter to finish before Monday.
Interior NASA conference room, night. 7 screens on 2 walls. Art and Space Center Director Nora Joyner, 40s, sit at a table at 2 of the 6 computer consoles. A tripod speaker device in the center. On the 3 lunar mission screens, stills of 1, the spaceship half covered in dirt. 2, a gaping hangar opening on the side. 3, on the live 3rd screen, the astronauts with flashlights cautiously enter into the cavernous hull and follow rail tracks beyond a mess of strewn about seats and other items. A Skype screen shows Dr. Lisa Blatt, 50s, scientist with NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, logo behind.
Well, Nora, that much dirt on top would take millions of years.
On the 3rd screen, the astronauts reach the 80-foot empty area in the hull's center. They find open tethers, as if something large had been released from them. Astronauts and all are shaken. Art's voice, dread thin.
Looks like there may have been a smaller craft on board.
All coverage.
Interior NASA conference room, morning. On the still screens, the spaceship hull and other images. On the live screen, Anne near the hull's center picks up a dusty heraldic staff with geometric symbols and markings. Nora is alone at a computer console. On the Skype wall, 3 of the 4 screens are active. 1, Lisa Blatt. 2, Dr. Richard Rich Howard, 60, NASA Administrator. 3, Kurt Toms, 52, Director of National Intelligence, a humorless military type. Official SEAL logos behind them.
Their technology seems somewhat less advanced than ours, so they probably came from a nearby planet.
Mars is too cold for advanced life. Venus too hot.
New studies suggest runaway on Venus happened more recently, 5 to 10 million years ago.
What about evidence of a small craft? Are there space aliens here? That's the crux of the matter.
If they had come, Mr. Toms, they would not have survived.
What makes you so sure?
The Silurian hypothesis. Industrial societies create large carbon spikes, and there hasn't been one for over 100,000 years, until now from us.
Kurt responds fiercely, rattling the others.
Nevertheless, we need eyes and ears around. Who knows what dangerous powers they may have? We're not dealing with humans.
Interior, Ishi's home, day. Out the window, mountainous desertscape. Yaris watches NASA's Earth views. She looks at the open door of Ishi's home office. Bookshelves, a table with a computer, books and papers piled high. Ishi types away at the computer, gets up, pulls out a bookshelf section, revealing a secret shelf of books in a strange script, the same symbols on the heraldic staff the astronauts found. Ishi takes a book, returns to the computer, reads, then types, using those symbols interspersed with English. Yaris enters, sighs.
Your book, it goes on and on, Ishi. When will you publish it?
I have to finish this chapter for the Amazonian Encyclopedia. My book won't be ready for a year or 2.
Send what you have.
Ishi looks at Yaris, horrified, pained.
I can't.
Then take out those parts, but you say they may help save the Earth.
Ishi looks back at his computer, remains silent.
We want that, no?
There's more to protect, Grandmother.
Interior, Ishi's living dining room, night. Meal finished, Yaris leaves the dining table, heads towards the TV. Ishi takes the plates back toward the kitchen, looks back.
NASA TV's hypnotizing you.
Bueno. We'll see the news.
Yaris flicks the TV control as Ishi enters the kitchen. On TV, President Howard Nolan at the Oval Office desk. The ACN TV logo in bottom right corner.
Let me stress again, this moon discovery is a great opportunity to learn more about our universe.
Ishi, aghast, looks from the kitchen through the bar opening at the TV, drops the plates in the sink. Yaris leans forward.
Oh no.
Me.
Ishi rushes to the living room, stands near Yaris as the TV switches to Greg Quincy, 50s, at the anchor desk. Behind him, an image of the uncovered spaceship.
As President Nolan said, this changes our worldview. Intelligent life came before us.
The TV switches to the astronauts exploring inside the spaceship hull. Anne picks up the dusty heraldic staff.
They're finding amazing items. The President has asked Kurt Thomas.
A photo of Kurt Toms replaces the spaceship image.
National Intelligence Director to investigate the possibility some space beings may be among us today.
Oh, God of the universe, that's all we need. Not to mention a distraction from real problems.
Much more when we return.
They never guessed all this time.
Yaris clicks off the TV as it goes to commercial.
They weren't hunting for aliens.
You were going to tell it, no?
Eventually, on my terms.
Interior, Ishi's home, morning. Yaris watches ACN TV. Ishi, briefcase in hand, heads out. He pauses at the TV, presses his fingers to his temple. TV, the astronauts exploring the dust-filled cockpit.
I have a severe headache. Some things are best left unmooned.
Ishi leaves as astronaut Anne on TV comes across a dusty, opaque container on the floor. Interior, spacecraft cockpit, day, flashback. Super, 6 million years ago. The container, fully transparent, is full of strange box books. No dust, a brighter, more colorful cockpit. Outside the starboard window, moonscape, an earthrise in the sky. Nearby, a funeral pyre of burning bodies smoldering. Inside, a humanoid black hand, green cuff, writes in a laptop-like book with thin metallic pages using a stylus that makes geometric shapes and markings vertically down the page.
We cremated the 674 who died in the crash using rocket propellant due to Narlo's moon lacking oxygen. We kept enough to carry the 151 survivors to Narlo in the life pod. We jettisoned non-essentials. This is my final entry. Captain Hahn.
The heraldic staff found earlier leans against the ledge between the book and the container on the floor. The hand snaps the book shut and puts it in the container. Exterior, Taos University entrance, New Mexico, day, present. An adobe-like archway to Spanish-style campus buildings, mountains in the distance. The sign on top, Taos University, Taos, New Mexico. Ishi strides through the arch, then stops near a single-story building with the sign Anthropology Museum and Laboratory. He watches Roberto Soto, 55, face disfigured from a fire in childhood, slip a serape over his university guard uniform. Roberto dips a sage bundle into an earthen bowl of water, shakes it at the building's entrance, hums a chant.
Roberto, what are you doing?
Driving off evil spirits. The new secretary's afraid to work in there with those human bones.
In the distance, student Kip Davis, 19, watches them, gets worried, and snaps photos. Roberto enters the building, chanting. Ishi follows. Interior, Anthropology Laboratory and Museum Hallway, day. The dark hallway lights up in segments as Roberto and Ishi enter and amble through. Energy saving with a spooky effect. Showcases of prehistoric human skulls and bones at various stages. Australopithecines, Homo erectus, early Homo sapiens. Roberto sprinkles water and hums. Ishi laughs lightly.
I've been in here many times. I can vouch it's safe from evil spirits. Not sure about the Linguistics Institute, though. You know, the bones are replicas.
Some are real, Professor.
They wander past cases of stone tools, murals of prehistoric humans foraging for food. Roberto sprinkles water, humming.
I doubt it. The price would be exorbitant. Anyway, are you on for your grandissimo presentation?
Sure thing, Professor.
Exterior, Anthropology Laboratory and Museum entry, day. Ishi exits, heads toward the nearby 2-story Pueblo-style building with title atop, Taos Linguistics Institute. Interior, Linguistics Department Lounge, day. Faculty and grad students at tables, and on the sofa, glued to the moon find on ACN TV. Some sip coffee, eat donuts. Julie Porter, 28, is at a back table reading a book, glancing at the TV. Her good looks attract the wrong type of attention for a career-minded woman with an abiding concern for others. Ishi enters, dismayed to see people watching the moon news. TV, spaceship cockpit. Jacob and Anne open the book container and carefully pull out the top, thick box book, not the thin log Captain Hanno put in it.
They're photocopying the, I guess you'd call them books. Meanwhile, the moon find has created carnival-like gatherings around the world.
TV, a New York street with a diverse crowd. One in a white space alien costume holds a sign, will eat people for money. Laura Preston, 38, stands with a mic between a woman, 60s, with a sign, "We welcome all aliens, even human aliens," and Hank, 40s, with his sign, "Go back to your planet."
Like this one in New York. Laura?
Laura turns to the woman.
What do you think, ma'am?
Imagine what we could learn.
And you, sir?
How do we know what they're up to?
But experts say they couldn't have survived if they came here.
That's just to dope us down.
Lounge. Some students respond to the TV, unnerving Ishi.
What a jerk.
Gotta watch real net TV to get the true take on this.
TV. Laura, shaken, steps forward, revealing a sprawling crowd. She gives a hand sweep to the crowd behind her.
An interesting mix of responses.
Lounge. Ishi approaches Julie, speaks quietly.
Let's go to my office.
Julie nods and gets up. Interior, outside, inside Ishi's office, day. Ishi unlocks the door with the nameplate, Dr. Ishi H. Banesa. Ishi and Julie enter Ishi's office. Shelves overflow with books, papers, artifacts. Among them a rock and a small replica of Hanno's heraldic staff. Pictures of Earth from space, a Native American man, Ishi, a Tasmanian woman, Truganini, another of her skeleton in a museum. Above a file cabinet, a poster behind a stack of books and papers with only human visible on top. Julie sits down in front of the desk, Ishi behind it.
So, Dr. Banesa.
Ishi, you're a grad student now.
Ishi. What do you say? From Venus?
Not likely. It's way too hot.
Experts say not millions of years ago, before the warming, some think it must have come from Venus.
Skip the past, Julie. We're facing serious problems on Earth right now. Shall we get to our topic?
About past Amazonian languages.
Ishi breaks out laughing, followed by Julie.
Touché, Julie. Your Proto-Tupian chapter?
Julie reaches in her backpack, takes out a manuscript and a pen drive, hands them to Ishi.
It's different from the Egyptian you were working on with Dean Olin.
Hieroglyphs had been my dream, but
Ishi looks confused. Julie forces a smile.
it's exciting to study Amazonia before it all vanishes.
Gets destroyed, you mean?
Your Venusian script chapter.
It's still a long way off.
I thought.
I had a glitch. The encyclopedia can go ahead without it. You need publications.
That chapter's the crown jewel.
Dean Edward Olin, 50s, steps into the doorway. Julie shudders. Edward eyes them with contempt, speaks sternly.
Ishi, come to my office. We need to talk about your position.
Edward disappears. Julie flares with anger. Ishi is shaken, then his eyes fall on the heraldic staff and gets worried.
The way Dean Olin shames people.
Oh, he's just angry. Last month.
His wife ran off with a Mexican guy half his age, but did you know that some call him Dean Hands-On?
Ishi looks at Julie, surprised.
Is that why you...
Julie chokes up, brushes the air to make it go away.
You should report it, Julie.
Would anything come of that?
Well, last term the guy got tenure and the woman was fired.
No, me too. At TU. You finish your chapter, Dr. Ishi. I'll wait.
Julie gets up to leave. Ishi speaks half-heartedly.
I'll back you if you report it.
Julie nods, then leaves. Ishi goes, takes the staff, and puts it in the bottom file cabinet under papers.
You wanted to see me. Edward?
Interior, Dean Edward Olin's office, day. A palatial office. Stark, a few books, charts of ancient scripts and hieroglyphs, a large image of the Rosetta Stone. Ishi, in humble pose, stands before the massive desk. Edward, behind it, relaxes in his executive chair.
Your tenure is coming up. I was shocked to see you on TV heading a protest on campus.
Ishi takes a seat in front of the desk.
It was a rally. As club advisor, I had to make sure the students didn't block pathways.
I'd be careful about such involvements. How's Julie doing? I suppose she likes the Latin type.
I'm a confirmed bachelor, Edward. No involvements. Especially not with my students.
Anger flares on Edward's face, quickly turning icy.
So you're having visa troubles.
That's Gio Cantu. I was born here in New Mexico. My family came from Brazil, became citizens here.
Yes, well, Your publications.
I have the 4, as required for tenure, in top-tier journals.
That's minimum. I'm making this a leader in linguistics, specializing in graphemics. You haven't done anything in that area.
My book will be ready soon. It has a chapter on Venetian script.
The encyclopedia? I'm afraid.
No, a 600-page monograph of Venetian civilization and language.
Well, your tenure decision is in 2 months. Amazonia's sort of fringe, and those tattoos.
I owe it to my ancestors to write it down. Only my grandmother and I are left, and it has important implications for Earth's future. My markings are ancestral.
Okay. But I suggest you send your vita to other places.
The phone rings. Edward answers it while Ishi looks around at the posters, the Rosetta Stone image.
Yes. Yes? Yes, the moon writing, sure. We'd be eager and ready.
Edward waves Ishi to leave. Ishi exits. Exterior, entrance of Taos University, late afternoon. More students walking out then into the campus. Ishi heads out, dejected. Julie comes from behind.
Ishi, wait.
Ishi turns and Julie catches up to him.
I want to invite you to a small dinner party tomorrow night.
On a working day, I have to dig in, get my book ready, and I'll finish the Venetian article soon. Seems I'm the one who needs publications.
And you really need some recreation first, Dr. Ishi. It's just a few grad students. You'll be the only faculty.
Okay. Thanks.
Interior, Hank's apartment, Bronx, night. A small, rundown living room. Hank watches the Moon Project on RealNet TV with logo at the bottom. TV, astronaut Jacob studies a cache of weapons.
We at RealNet TV don't buy the story. They couldn't have survived. Who knows what kind of powers they may possess? And their weapons lead us to believe they're dangerous.
Hank offs the TV as Frances, his wife, enters with dinner.
Those people next door look strange, even for gooks. Maybe they're space aliens.
I don't know. Their baby was born with a weird head, like no top.
They're secretive. I don't even know if they have jobs.
She said they work at that creepy fingernail place.
Hank gets up and goes to a cabinet beside the TV, unlocks and opens it, revealing various arms, including a semi-automatic.
If the police find those...
So we can't protect ourselves?
Interior, Ishi's home, night. Yaris watches the Moon Project on ACN TV. Greg's at the anchor desk, a still of the book container behind him.
The books or writing cases, whatever they are, appear legible.
The TV scene switches to an astronaut carefully opening the first box book, a huge, ornate one.
They're transmitting photocopied pages to Earth. Meanwhile, NASA is coordinating linguistic institutes around the world to decode them.
TV, closer on the first page of the book. Yaris bends forward, trying to read it.
Ishi, they found the books.
Ishi, in his home office, calls loudly through the open door.
I know, but I can't deal with that now. I have to get my book ready.
Ishi, you must get those books.
Ishi comes to the doorway.
First you tell me, finish my book, which will open Pandora's snake pit. And now, if I don't finish it soon, we may have to move. I can't do that to you, grandmother.
I moved many times, Ishi. I can move again. This is Zorkic books.
Yaris sees Ishi's distress and desists. Ishi shakes his head and heaves a sigh, goes back into his office. Later, home office. Ishi takes a book from the secret shelf, then goes back to the computer and types. Yaris slips into the room, goes to the bookshelf and looks.
It is exciting, no? Zork's books to put with our Narla books?
Yaris chuckles, but Ishi is intent on his work.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, I'm having dinner tomorrow at Julie Porter's.
That's all good, Ishi. You need friends. Do you love her?
Grandmother, she's my student. Besides, I can't get married.
Only you cannot have children.
Can we change the topic?
Good though to have friends. I may not be here very long.
Ishi looks up and speaks with soft, loving sternness.
You'll live to be 120. Carnus, Yaris.
Interior, Hank's apartment, morning. Hank and Frances are in the cramped kitchen eating breakfast when the doorbell rings. They look at each other, worried. Frances gets up to answer it. Hank follows, stops near the gun cabinet, unlocks it. Francis cracks the chained locked door, sees Chin Sun, 20s, Korean, face swollen from a cold and rashes, holding her encephalic baby, born without a brain.
Excuse? My baby has a fever and my phone's broke. Can I use yours?
Our phone doesn't work either. Try the neighbor down the hall.
Francis shuts the door, leans against it with a sigh.
Oh, that was close.
Hank locks the gun case. Interior, Julie's apartment, late afternoon. Julie is at the door, welcoming Ishi, who presents her with a bottle of wine. He's the first guest.
You're early. I'm still cooking.
Jimmy rushes up to Julie.
I thought I could help.
I want to play outside.
Jimmy, what do you say to our guest, Dr. Ishi Banesa?
Hello?
Ishi bends down to shake hands with Jimmy.
My son needs to learn manners. Maybe you could take him outside?
Get the ball over there, Jimmy.
Jimmy rushes to his play area and gets the beach ball.
I didn't know you had a family, a husband?
Not married. It was an oops moment.
Ishi nods. Exterior, Julie's apartment, dusk. Ishi is playing catch with Jimmy on a patch of lawn. In the window, he sees students with drinks. Jeff, 25, Becky, 26, and Chuck Boyer, 32. Julie enters with appetizers.
I think we need to go in now.
Aw, Mommy never plays catch.
She's busy, but I can come sometime and play. It's really a man thing.
Jimmy brightens, nods. Ishi, worried, mumbles.
I can't believe I said that. I hope your mom doesn't get mad at me.
She won't. She likes you.
Ishi nods. They head in, Ishi's hand on Jimmy's shoulder. Interior, Julie's apartment, evening. Jimmy and Ishi enter. Ishi greets the others. On the dining table, there are various New Mexican and American dishes.
Dinner's ready.
So this is to celebrate you being selected for the moon team?
Julie's embarrassed and Ishi is surprised.
I haven't accepted. I'm staying with Ishi. No, this is to honor Dr. Ishi on his forthcoming book on Venusian civilization and language.
The students offer ease, wows, and congrats. Ishi throws Julie a questioning look, but goes along with it. Smiles. The students start a line at the table, offering to put Ishi first. He demurs, gets behind them.
Did you see that moonwriting page that just came out?
Ishi stops heaping food on his plate.
Yeah, it's wow. I'd like that grad assistant job on the team.
It'll take months, even years to decipher. There's no Rosetta Stone.
I'd like to see that page. Is it?
It's downloadable. Just one page to satisfy public curiosity.
Ishi puts his plate down and goes to Julie.
Can I use your computer?
Certainly.
Moments later, Ishi is at Julie's computer near Jimmy's play area. Jimmy is at his kiddie table finishing his dinner. The students have taken seats around the dining table at the other end of the room, chattering among themselves. Ishi's honed in on the computer, the script similar to his secret books, but more ornate. He prints it out. Julie comes to Jimmy.
Time for bed.
Oh, I want to stay up.
Shh. Dr. Banesa is working.
Jimmy gets up. Julie takes his hand and leads him away. Moments later, Julie stops near Ishi, sees that his plate is half full.
You're not eating.
Ishi looks up, as if awakened by a noise.
Oh, sorry,
Jeff calls to Ishi across the room in a joking tone.
Did you crack the code, Dr. Banesa?
No, not yet.
They all chuckle and return to chatter. Julie joins the others. Ishi studies the writings, scribbles notes. Later, Ishi sees the students file out. Julie closes the door. Ishi arises, folds the paper, and heads toward the door.
I've been a terrible guest.
No, you were terrific. What an example about applying ourselves to our studies. They were saying what a great scholar you are.
They were? Could you get me more writings?
Dean Olin said, that is, if I joined the team, the government would expect us to keep them secret. You should ask to be on the team.
It's best I stay low profile. I mean, I've told him I'm working on finishing my book, but you join.
I'll think about it.
Please, for me. But stay clear of hands-on.
Ishi steps toward the door, brushing close.
This was quite a wonderful evening. Jimmy's a sweet boy.
He's the best thing I've ever done, and I hope to do it again. Children are the greatest joy.
Greater than linguistics?
Oh, there are many pleasures greater than linguistics.
Well, it's getting late,
He waves the paper.
and I need to get back to this great pleasure.
Interior, Ishi's home, night. Ishi enters, calls gently, awaking Yaris.
Grandmother, I have something. Writings from the Moon Project.
Ishi goes to his office. Yaris follows. Ishi pulls a chair next to his, lays the page on the table.
Can you read this?
Yaris sits and looks at the page intently.
It is very ancient. Maybe the Hersoric?
That's what I was thinking, but I only know the first verse.
Yariska, Yarnima, Yarsoya, Turyami, Sunyo, Erokshat, Marinak, Roksharoy, Kornus Karbat, Erkernis, Korbatsar, Riknot, Yarnima Roy.
Ishi translates solemnly, eyes closed, poetic lilt.
When unity was whole and undivided, all was peace and sleep.
Eyes open, upward gaze.
The great awakening tore father, dream from mother dreamer.
I know 20 verses.
Ishi hugs Yaris.
You're my Rosetta Stone. But how did the Hersoric get there? Why'd they leave it behind?
Interior, Venusian spaceship, moon, night, flashback. Super, 6 million years ago. Through a window in the spaceship's hull, the smoldering funeral pyre. Inside is a 100-person capacity space pod. Captain Hanno, 40s, in green uniform, stands with his heraldic staff at its entrance. Black skin, dark eyes. A spiny mohawk ridge down to his upper back, hollow cheek and flared jaw with spiny protrusions, the same area as Ishi's dots. Venusians like Hanno cram into the pod, a few in green uniforms, women with female curves, some children.
Make haste. Oxygen is depleting. Leave everything behind.
Marikana, 70s, a bent-over woman, spiny ridge down, is secretly clutching something as she enters. Hanno stops her.
You can take nothing, Marikana.
He pries a heavy, ornate box book from her.
But Captain Hanno, it's our Hersoric.
Komen, 20s, Pernak, 40s, and some others stop.
Religion put us in this tragedy.
It's because we never followed it. We're all cursed to die here. No air, no water, no food.
This is not Narlo, Marikana. It's Narlo's moon. Carry the Hersoric in your heart. We're over capacity.
Others shove Marikana into the pod, grumbling at her. Hanno takes the book, goes up steps to the cockpit, puts it in the book container, then returns to the hull.
We enter Narlo like naked babies. It's our new home. Our new birth.
Several people drop the items they were trying to smuggle aboard, but Pernak keeps hold of a rock, the one in Ishi's office. Tears well up in the eyes of some.
We must never forget Zorkis.
The last one enters, then Hanno pushes his staff away. It clatters to the hull floor. He enters the pod. Interior, Linguistics Institute foyer, day, present. Ishi enters the building as Edward leaves. When Edward sees Ishi, he pauses, a cat smile on his face.
Say, Ishi, I'm replacing Julie with Chuck Boyd as your grad assistant.
That's all fine. I heard Julie's assisting the Moon team. That's best for her, and Chuck's fine.
Ishi heads away, smiling. Edward is perplexed and pissed. Once alone, Ishi gets his cell out and makes a call.
Julie, can you meet me in an hour?
Exterior, woods near Washington, D.C., day. Kurt Toms is out with an aide, 30s. They're both in hunting gear, stalking some unseen prey with rifles.
The web page proposal is out of the question, Kurt.
What about the alien threat?
They spot a fawn nursing a deer in the distance.
It's no-go all the way to the top.
The deer steps away from the fawn. Kurt takes aim, shoots the fawn. The deer jumps away into the woods.
You missed, Mr. Thomas. Got Bambi.
Kurt turns to the aide, cold expression.
I don't miss. How's the web page?
Ready to launch?
Interior, Linguistics Lab classroom, day. Ishi at the whiteboard smiles and whistles a tune as he writes a vertical column of 8 diamond symbols in blue, then adds different red markings on each: an underline, overline, // backslash, X, cross, center dot, no mark. In the front corner on the computer console, a program to analyze Venusian script. Computer booths to the sides, a table in the center. On the walls, the International Phonetic Alphabet, Egyptian and Mayan hieroglyphics, the vocal tract. George looks through the rear door window, then enters.
I was looking for you, Dr. Banesa.
Ishi turns.
Oh, the environmental club meeting. I completely forgot. What happened?
We discussed the climate horror film and planned for Power Shift. You need to sign for funds to DC.
George takes a form from his backpack, puts it on the table. Ishi leans over, reads it, takes his pen from his pocket.
Will you be coming?
Ishi signs the form.
I'll try. What else?
Ishi straightens up, puts his pen back.
What to do next week. But I couldn't pry attention away from the moon thing. That's all they talked about.
No.
But Florence said something. Maybe those space people destroyed their own planet, and that's why they headed toward Earth. We just couldn't get off the topic.
Well, if you can't fight them,
Join them.
maybe incorporate the moon thing into a rally in some way.
Like, wear costumes and hold signs like, "We destroyed our planet, don't destroy yours."
All good, George.
George looks at the board of strange symbols.
Is that some ancient language?
The moon writing script.
Oh no, you too.
Yeah, me too.
Julie enters as George leaves, muttering.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
You wanted to see me, Ishi?
Heard you joined the team. I want to show you what I have. It seems to be an abugida. I'm isolating the syllabic units.
Ishi goes to the right board panel and points to the variations on the diamond-shaped symbol.
Wow, you're such a genius.
Not really.
Julie looks with wonder at his parsing, while Ishi goes behind the console, lowers the screen, and ons the projector. The Venusian program fades in. The room lights dim.
I've started to develop a program for it using new scripts.
He types. Venusian script and explanatory information dance across the screen. The computer casts an eerie glow on his face, giving him an otherworldly look.
But how will we ever know what it means?
I need more writings for that.
Ishi, your book. You need publications for tenure. I don't want you to...
Almost finished. The moon writings, they may be more important.
Ishi taps buttons to raise the screen off the console and brighten the room lights, then comes from behind the console.
Okay, I'll get you the writings, but your book comes first.
He evades her look and starts erasing the board. She looks at him with love-worried eyes. Interior, Hank's apartment, Bronx, night. Hank's at the dining table on his laptop, reading a page. SAV, your family and community from space aliens. A silhouette of a soldier shooting a space alien, woman and children behind him.
Francis, here's something. Space Alien Vigilantes, SAV, save.
Frances appears at the kitchen door. Hank looks at her, then at the computer, reads out loud.
Form a cell to protect your family and community. If the government won't do it, you may have to.
He looks up at Frances.
No contact information.
She moves to the table, sits down, worried.
Wonder if Ben's behind this.
Ben?
Ben Gurney, remember? We were in special forces with nukes. If only he'd killed that friendly Afghan bastard before he blew Sam Voorhees to bits.
Frances nods. Hank pulls out his cell, calls.
Ben! Hey, buddy. Did you do that webpage? Space Alien Vigilantes? It says we should form groups around the country. Oh, I thought you may have done it. Nah, I'm a lone wolf. But if you need my help, yeah. www.sav.net. Okay, buddy?
Hank taps the cell off, turns to Frances.
He thinks you should start a group out in Oregon. His buddies are already preparing for the worst.
Interior, Ishi's home, night. Ishi's at his computer, stars in the sky outside his window. Morning. Sunlight shines through the window. Ishi is still typing on the computer. He arises, stretches, goes into the hallway, then at the end of the hallway into his home art studio. 20 paintings of Venusian civilization in the Amazon against the walls. Towns, huts, crops and cleared rainforest. Some include Venusians with mohawk and cheek spikes, less prominent than early Venusians, brown skin, some hair. One is of a couple, looking like Ishi and Yaris, set in a New Mexican scene, his parents. A painting of Venus's topography map, like Earth, but with different continents and oceans. On the easel, a portrait of Captain Hanno with his staff. Ishi looks at the collection, takes down the Hanno painting. Yaris enters, watches Ishi store in a closet the paintings with the less human-looking Venusians and the one of Venus.
What are you doing, Ishi?
I was thinking of inviting Julie.
Sometime you'll have to tell her.
I know.
Exterior campus quad, day. Ishi and Julie are walking from the dining commons toward the linguistics building. She passes a flash drive to him.
The second and third books.
Ishi nods, takes it, and puts it in his pocket.
Thanks, Julie. How's the team?
We met. Next week, Olin expects results. I wish you were on it.
Ishi brushes the air dismissively.
Give my ideas as if they're yours.
Modesty becomes you, Ishi.
It's not modesty. Really. Come, I'll print that Abugida idea.
Interior, Ishi's university office, day. Ishi prints a page from his computer as Julie looks around, first at the rock on the shelf. Ishi sees her line of vision.
From my ancestors' place.
Julie nods and continues to look around. Ishi takes the page from the printer, hands it to her.
That can get you started.
Julie points to the Native American Ishi photo.
I see Ishi, the last of his California tribe. You were named after him, right?
Ishi nods. Julie then points to the Truganini photos.
Who's that?
Ishi turns back and looks.
Truganini, the last full-blooded Tasmanian, and her skeleton.
Julie sighs from the oppressive weight of the tragedy.
That's horrible.
She died in 1870s. We've become civilized since then.
Yeah, sure. But what about you? Another Ishi?
Ishi forces a smile.
I'm leaving behind a grand tome about my people. And what I wanted to ask is, could you and Jimmy come for dinner tonight?
Yes, of course.
Interior, Ishi's home office, evening. Ishi, reading on his computer, suddenly stops.
Yaris, I think this book, it's Captain Hanno's log.
Yaris, wiping her hands on her apron, enters.
Each entry is signed Artupa Hanno.
Yaris peers at Ishi's computer screen.
Oh, good, Ishi.
And this third one seems to be a history of Zorkis.
Moments later, Yaris is in the kitchen, cooking. Ishi is at his computer in his office. The doorbell rings. Ishi goes to the door and welcomes Jimmy and Julie. Julie presents a wine bottle. Ishi bends down to Jimmy.
How about some Coke?
Jimmy looks up to Julie.
It's okay, Jimmy.
Can we play catch?
After dinner.
Yaris approaches.
Grandmother, meet Julie and Jimmy.
Yaris bends down to shake Jimmy's hand. She then clasps Julie's hand and gives her a warm smile.
Call me Yaris.
Later, Ishi leads them down the hall to his art studio.
You both are great cooks.
Art studio. The four enter. Julie is enthralled by the Venusian paintings.
Illustrations from my book.
You painted them? A man of many talents.
I'm a veritable Renaissance man.
Ishi makes a comical low bow with hand gesture.
Remember what happened to the Warket's tail?
What's a war kit?
It's a mythological animal. Comes up in fables.
The Warket is real. The story's made up. It's about how he lost his tail because of his pride. It doesn't have a tail, you see.
Exterior Venus plain, day, flashback. Super, Venus 6 million years ago. A lush field under a very large sun. Strange roaming herd animals in the distance. A warket, like a hyena but without a tail, chubbier, longer, floppy ears, eyes the herd from the tall grass. Interior, Ishi's art studio, evening, present.
Okay, Yaris.
Yaris catches herself, touches her finger to her lips. Julie looks at both curiously, then sighs.
So the Venusian civilization was quite advanced for its time.
Somewhat. At its fluorescence, 3,000 years ago, the population was over 9,000.
Julie wanders around the room, looking at the paintings.
The reason I know several extinct Amazonian languages is because my ancestor noted them down.
Can we play catch now?
Come along, Jimmy. We'll play catch while these big people blabber.
A girl playing ball?
I was softball champion in Brazil, so we'll play with a real ball.
Yaris and Jimmy leave.
And by the 20th century?
The population collapsed from European incursion. Gold mining with cyanide, forest clearing, cattle raising, land fights, bauxite and oil extraction. We dwindled to a few families and escaped to Rio de Janeiro. Later, my family came to America.
Julie comes to the last painting, Ishi's parents.
Your parents?
Yes, they were doctors.
I know. Heard they saved many lives. It was tragic to lose them.
You're a Santa Fean.
Yes.
Ishi nods. Julie gently touches Ishi's arm in sympathy. Later, in the living room, Julie and Jimmy are at the door with Ishi, about to leave. Yaris comes from the hallway with a softball.
Here, Jimmy, you take this.
Why don't you sign it, grandmother?
Ishi hands her a pen from his pocket. Yaris signs it, Yaris, and hands it to Jimmy, whose eyes widen with glee.
Yee.
Julie smiles sweetly at the scene, then looks lovingly at Ishi, who notices her look and smiles back. Interior, Ishi's home office, night. Ishi at the table sifts through a pile of pages in Venusian script. Yaris enters.
Jimmy's a sweet boy. Not naughty like you were.
Ishi smiles without looking up.
He was guest, grandmother. I'm family. But he is a good boy.
What are you doing? It's midnight.
Skimming the Zorkis history book. I need a new first chapter.
Ishi looks up at Yaris, serious.
People should know why we came here.
Interior, Ishi's home office, day. Sun shines through the window. Ishi types at his computer, a cup of coffee to his side.
Venus, or Zorkis, as the Venusians call it, teemed with life before the Great Warming.
Exterior, verdant wilderness, Venus, day, flashback. A waterfall from a polygonal mesa, river, field, and forest. Amazing knot of earth flowers, plants, and trees.
It hosted verdant fields and forests, abundant flora and fauna.
Strange three-humped deer, floppy-eared rabbits with long tails hopping, birds with 4 wings, 2 blurry hover wings.
Although species were different from those on Earth, they evolved in much the same way.
Interior, Ishi's home office, night, present. Ishi works at his office table, a night sky in the window. Yaris brings him a book from the secret bookshelf.
Venusians, like humans, built successful societies.
Exterior, city, Venus, day, flashback. Polygonal-shaped, strange buildings, some with spires, pollution covering it, smoke from stacks ascending. Capsule-like hover vehicles, assorted sizes and colors, speed along the highway. Some lift off and fly, some into building openings. Some spin around, go in the opposite direction.
However, their industrialized lifestyle tipped Venus into runaway warming 2 million years before it would have happened naturally.
Interior, Ishi's office, morning, present. Sunlight through the window. Ishi consults writings, types.
The last century on Venus, before the spaceship took off for Earth, was fraught with catastrophes.
Exterior, Venus, day, flashback. Various geostorm disasters, harming fleeing Venusians and destroying their strange buildings and structures.
Mega heat waves, wildfires, storms, floods, and droughts. These led to famines, conflicts, and wars.
Images of warfare during a megastorm. Interior, greenhouse, Ishi's home, day, present. Yaris potters down a row, waters tomato plants, herbs, then flowers. Ishi follows, reading to her from pages he printed.
When they realized Venus would become uninhabitable, they quickly developed a space program.
Yaris stops, lifts a dying orchid with her finger, shakes her head and lets it droop back down, sighs heavily.
Of those selected by lottery to escape, only 151 reached Earth. The 2 billion left behind on Venus would have perished in disasters.
Yaris looks at Ishi, who looks at her, both sad.
Terrible time.
Interior, exterior, spaceship, Venus, day. Super, 6 million years ago. Fires, storms, destruction rage in the distant background. Wind lashes Venusians of all ages as they file up the gangway into the spaceship, carrying small bags of belongings. Captain Hanno at the top of the gangway welcomes them, while a petty officer checks them off the list as they enter. Down below, relatives give the Venusian farewell by putting the palm of their hand to the forehead of the other, then bringing it to their lips. Many are in tears. Some cling to each other until the one left behind pushes the one leaving, bidding him or her to go. A boy, 5, with his mother approaches the top. He's clutching a weird powder puff animal that clings to his chest. Captain Hanno stops the pair. The father behind also stops.
You can't take any pets, son.
We couldn't get it away from him.
Look, some nice children down there badly want a snowpack. Wouldn't you let one of them love him?
The boy turns, sees a few children with their parents sending relatives off. He runs down and gives the swopak to a girl, 6, which clings to her. She cries out in glee. Interior, Ishi's home, night. Ishi and Yaris watch TV. TV, astronaut Anne pages through a small, thin box book. Each brief story headed by a sketch of a strange animal, one with a war cut. Another, a personified Earth with a big sun.
This is perhaps a children's book.
Children's stories, see? Narlo challenges the sun.
The TV cuts to commercial, and Yaris clicks it off. She goes to the picture glass window, beckons Ishi. She points to the brightest star in the sky, Venus.
Zorkis.
Ishi puts his arm around her shoulder, gently squeezes. Interior, Ishi's home office, night. Ishi types at the computer. Yaris brings him dinner. Interior, Ishi's home office, morning. Ishi still at the computer, a cup of coffee to the side. Yaris sticks her head in the door.
You're not going to work today?
Ishi looks at his watch.
Oh, late again.
He gulps his coffee, rushes to the door. Yaris calls to him just before he shuts the door.
Translate the children's book. We can give it to Jimmy.
Ishi stops, sighs.
You translate it, grandmother, but we can't give it to Jimmy until...
I know. You go to work, Ishi.
Interior, Student Union, day. George, some 12 environmental club students, and Ishi are at 2 tables in a corner area making signs, costumes, and a banner. Space Alien Environmental Rally. Music and talk flood the area. Julie stops by when she sees Ishi, looks at the signs, pauses at the one that reads, "We destroyed our planet, don't destroy yours." She speaks to Ishi, loudly over the music.
I'm beginning to understand why this moon project is important to you. Well, to all of us. Venus?
So the experts say.
I'm going to the moon team meeting, the Venus meeting, that is.
Ishi nods and smiles. Interior, linguistics meeting room, day. Posters and pictures with various ancient writing systems. An easel with the first page of the moon writings. Julie and 3 professors, Hal, Lee, Chinese American, and Linda, 50s, are sitting around a small conference table. Edward Olin stands at the head.
Our TU team should be the one that cracks the code.
Hal raises his hand.
I thought the teams around the world are to share ideas, put our heads together in cyberspace.
Of course. But ours is specialized in graphemics. By all means, share ideas after you solidify them. So, does anyone have anything?
Lee half raises his hand.
Lee?
It's nothing like Chinese logography, Edward.
Julie raises her hand, as does Linda.
Linda?
Mayan glyphs don't help, and it doesn't look like an alphabet.
Julie again raises her hand, as does Hal.
Hal?
I'm looking into semblance with Cree, Cherokee, and other systems.
Julie raises her hand again, but Edward ignores her.
Excuse me, Dean Olin. I think it might be an ambiguita because of the frequency of basic symbols and similar internal variations.
Julie, you're a student, not a participant. A helper as needed.
The others are astonished. Hal especially looks amazed.
Wait, Edward, Julie's right.
Yes, that's what I'm looking into. Syllabaries, abugitas.
Edward looks daggers at Julie. clears his throat, smiles weakly at Hal and Linda.
Of course, we should look into various writing systems. So, Hal, you take up the Abugida idea.
I'll help. I'm familiar with the Ojibwe script. An Abugida.
Good. Next week, come with results.
They start filing out of the room, Julie behind the others.
Wait a minute, Julie. Sit down.
Julie sits, Edward lording it over her.
Don't ever shame me in front of the faculty again.
Julie drops her jaw with a huff of incredulity.
I was only trying to help.
Well, if you have any ideas, pass them through me first.
I'm wondering why Professor Banesa isn't on your team.
He's a fraud. He hasn't published his supposed Venusian script. An Amazonian civilization? Come on now.
Julie stands up, anger flaring.
Archaeologists have found remains of several civilizations in the Amazon, sir. And I've seen Ishi's work. He's done illustrations.
And where did you see these?
At his home, and he's nearly finished his book.
Oh, I see. Seems you were quite invested in Dr. Banesa. That is, he is in you. I may have to rethink you being on this team.
Julie storms out, calling back.
I don't give a damn!
Interior, Ishi's office, day. The door opens. Ishi works on his computer. Edward Olin appears at the door, bursts in, shuts the door.
You know the rules against having affairs with students?
Yes, I went through sexual harassment training and I actually paid attention.
It could mean losing one's job.
I'm not having an affair with her, Edward. Even if I were, which I am not, it's allowed. She's no longer my student or working with me.
I just wanted to warn you. The tenure committee won't like it.
Edward leaves. Later, Ishi is busy at his computer, flustered, when Julie enters and closes the door behind her. Ishi looks up.
Yes, Julie? How'd the meeting go?
Okay, I guess. I put in your Ambugida idea. They're taking it up. But the dean is such a jerk.
He didn't.
No, but he told me you're a fraud.
That's the least of my worries. But it's interesting. I've found whatever Edward accuses others of, he's usually guilty of himself.
Are you saying the dean's a fraud?
It'd be worth investigating.
Julie wanders over to the file cabinet, where a stack of books hides a poster with human at the top.
May I?
Ishi nods. Julie pulls away the books and papers, sets them on his desk, revealing a poster of human zoos, with drawings and photos of such over the centuries. She looks at Ishi.
They wouldn't.
Ishi's sad, shrugs a resigned, I don't know. Exterior, backwoods, Oregon, day. About 20 men and 5 women, including Kip, who watched Ishi with Roberto, and goofy-faced Smithy, 20s, some in army fatigues, sit or stand around a campfire in a forest, AR-15s and other arms by their sides, military tents to the rear. Ben, 40s, stands speaking.
Welcome to this boot camp of the Space Alien Vigilantes. We're safe. Cells are being formed around the world to protect us from who knows what, and we'll have to keep it secret. Don't want the space aliens or the government coming down on us. We need to protect our identities. So, first names only. I'm Ben from Portland.
I'm Smithy from Eugene.
Hi, I'm Kip from Roswell, studying at Taos University. That's a long way off. My uncle invited me.
Kip taps the older man next to him, who smiles.
Well, I'll put you in touch with Nooks in Albuquerque. He's forming a save cell out there. And you, sir?
Introductions continue, MOS. Later.
I fought in Afghanistan, and I'm likely the best trained here. My take on the situation? We don't know what powers these aliens possess. The government can't be everywhere to protect us, so we'll have to protect ourselves.
The group gives heartily yeahs or right-ons.
So first off, reconnaissance.
What's that mean?
It means, Smithy, that you go back to your towns and start searching for any strange beings. How will we know they're aliens? And you're from Roswell?
The crowd chuckles.
They'll likely be trying to blend in. They won't pass the smell test if we're vigilant.
What if we see one?
Don't engage them. We don't know how dangerous they are. Take photos without alerting them if you can and send them to me.
Nods from the group, except Smithy, who's confused.
We'll decide whether to report them to authorities. Then, if there's no action, we'll take action ourselves. There's no law against killing non-humans. Stay alert, stay armed, stay ready. Now, let's get on with training.
The group files out with weapons toward a clearing. Interior, Ishi's home office, night. Ishi, unhappy, stops typing, calls out.
I finished my book, grandmother.
He gets up and paces, filling the room with angst. Yaris comes, smiling.
Oh, good, Ishi.
I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. I don't want you hurt, grandmother.
Yaris puts her arm around his shoulder.
Oh, my Ishi, do not worry about me. I've lived a long and full life. This is your great work.
Grandmother, you just don't understand what some humans can do.
I do know. It cannot be worse than what they did to us and to the tribals in the Amazon. This needs to be published. Don't worry about me. But I also don't want you to hurt.
I don't care about myself or what Truganini thing they do to me.
It is settled, no? You send this tomorrow.
Anyway, the publishers will take weeks before reading it.
Then you tell NASA tomorrow.
No, it's too soon. I don't know what'll happen. I'll think on it.
Then you tell Julie.
She'll blame me for deceiving her.
Interior, Edward Olin's office, day. Julie enters meekly. Edward is taking a book from the shelf.
Come in and shut the door.
Julie complies. Edward puts the book on his desk.
I'm taking you off the moon team.
I figured, and it's okay with me, but what about my assistantship? I have a child to support.
You'll have to find other work.
Julie looks gut-slugged. Edward approaches, puts his hand on her back as if to usher her out, but doesn't open the door.
You're intelligent, full of assets.
He rubs her back.
You'll find something.
Edward's hand slips to her butt. Julie wiggles out of his touch, opens the door and speaks loudly. Others hear.
Hands off, Dean!
She leaves in a huff. Edward's anger flares. Interior, Ishi's office, day. Julie is trembling, breathing heavily, nearly in tears. Ishi comes from behind his desk to close the door.
What happened?
Ishi wants to hold her. Hands hover, but keeps his distance.
He took me off the team, so now I don't have an assistantship.
Ishi sucks in a deep sigh.
You sure that's all that happened? You're trembling.
I have Jimmy to support.
Ishi's sigh suggests he doesn't believe that's all.
Don't worry, Julie. Linda has grant funds for another assistant.
Can you take me back?
I couldn't do that to Chuck. Plus, my life has become unstable.
Your tenure has a decision.
No, it's worse than that, and there's another consideration.
Ishi sees Julie's pained look.
Which has to do with the fact that I like you a lot.
Julie relaxes a bit, smiles, resigned.
Okay, Ishi. Sounds all good.
Ishi looks at his watch, gets up.
The club rally. Come along.
Exterior, campus quad, day. 15 environmental club members are holding their rally around 2 picnic tables on the lawn with the signs they were making at their meeting. There is no Planet C and others. 5 club members are dressed in costumes. 1 white, large head, slanted black eyes. 2, 1 green with scales. 3, a Spider-Man outfit. 4, a Chewbacca costume. 5, a Klingon costume. The others sport oddly patterned makeup on their faces and have weird hairdos. Ishi and Julie are with them. Other students and faculty mill around or head towards class, a good number stopping to view the rally.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, ho. Fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. They'll destroy Earth. We no. Hey, hey, ho, ho.
The chanting continues. At a distance, in a crowd of students at the outdoor cafe, tables near the student commons, Kip watches.
Do you think any of these look like space people from Venus?
Who knows?
Roberto, in campus guard uniform, approaches Ishi.
This event is going to attract those aliens.
The chant decreases as some club members listen and look.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Roberto takes Ishi's hand, as if in a handshake. With his other hand, he lightly rubs Ishi's arm, getting vibes.
All good. They're good people.
The students are disconcerted by Roberto. Kip gets up, draws closer. Inconspicuous in the milling crowd, he snaps photos. After Roberto leaves, the club resumes chanting loudly. Edward Olin passes in the distance, gives a look of disgust. Edward gives him a shoulder-hand shrug as if to say, "What can I do?" Edward out of sight, Ishi turns to Julie.
We need to talk. Come to my house.
Exterior campus parking lot, day. Ishi and Julie approach his electric car. He pulls a cell.
I'll square it for you with Linda. Hey, Linda, Ishi here. You said your grant provides another assistantship and, well, Julie Porter needs one. No longer. Edward took her off. Well, you know Edward. That's great. Julie wanted to specialize in glyphs, so she'll be perfect for your Mayan project. Yeah. You too. See you around.
Ishi turns to Julie with a big smile.
You're in.
Exterior, Ishi's home, day. Ishi and Julie walk past the attached greenhouse where Yaris is watering plants. Yaris smiles at them, waves, and nods. Before Ishi and Julie enter the art studio entrance, he turns.
I haven't been forthright with you, Julie, but I need to be now.
Interior, Ishi's home, day. The art studio has all the Venusian paintings out. On the easel, Captain Hano. Ishi lets Julie enter first. She wanders around in a state of shock, taking in the 1,000 words each painting speaks, mouth agape. Ishi speaks in a hushed voice.
My ancestors were from Venus.
Julie turns to Ishi, tears welling in her eyes.
I had no idea. It was in my mind that you were the last of a vanishing human civilization. Oh, Ishi, it'll take me time to...
I'm debating when to tell others. I have grandmother to think of.
Crazies are after space people. I'm worried for you. And Yaris.
I've been living in worry my whole life. I don't know what's worse. Keep on worrying or face trouble. Come. I have more to show you.
Ishi takes Julie's hand and leads her into his home office. Ishi pulls out the shelf to reveal the hidden shelf.
The extant Amazonian Venusian book.
Ishi pulls one of the books off the shelf and hands it to Julie. It's in that moon script. Julie pages through it.
And you can also understand the moon, the Venusian writings from the spaceship.
It's an old language, but I'm progressing.
Ishi points to a stack of printouts.
These are my translations of the moon writings so far.
Ishi turns to Julie, puts his hands on her arms.
I've willed all this to you, Julie, in case...
No, Ishi!
I have lots of plans now that my duty to the past is almost over.
Ishi lightly rubs Julie's arms to reassure her, then gets a flash drive, gives it to her.
Translations to date, plus our history on Earth. There are gaps. Most books were lost, but a few were salvaged, like the first one, about when we arrived.
Exterior, Amazon rainforest, day, flashback. The space pod has landed on a shallow pond in the Amazon rainforest. Some trees and plants are crushed from the landing. Captain Hano is standing on the side of the pond, wet to his waist from having crossed it. Venusians file out of the pod, wade across the short span of water, about 2 feet deep. The young Koman carries aged Marikana across the water and sets her down. The beautiful Sereniki, 20s, emerges from the pod. Big Raptisik, 30s, behind her.
Your Highness, allow me.
Raptisik scoops her up to carry her across the water.
I don't need special help.
You're our princess.
Captain Hano is impatient with the exchange.
Sereniki is right. There are no royal positions here. But it's noble for a gentleman to carry a lady across the water.
Captain Hano smiles, and Raptisik carries Sereniki across. Later, all the Venusians are out of the pod, circled around Hannah.
First, prayers of thanks to Narlo's gods for allowing us to come here. Always remember, we are guests.
Interior, Ishi's home office, day, present. Ishi turns to a manuscript on a shelf.
This is the manuscript my parents wrote about Venusian. That is Venusian anatomy and biology.
Julie is wide-eyed.
They left it up to me to publish. People will want to know about the differences.
You look human. No one suspects.
Convergent evolution. We've been here 6 million years and have adapted. Our skin lightened due to less sunlight. We've evolved to be quite similar.
Julie touches the spots on Ishi's cheek, then kisses him on the cheek. Ishi turns away, sad.
But not the same. I won't be able to marry. That is, I can't have children with you.
Yaris enters the room and the conversation halts.
Your class, Ishi.
Ishi looks at his watch, then at Julie.
Yes, running late. Let's get back.
Interior, Kip's room, day. A small room in a rooming house with a bed and a desk. Kip works on his cell phone a while, then calls a number.
Ben? Kip here. I think I spotted one. Yeah. I'll text you some photos. Yeah. Let me know. Meanwhile, I'll keep an eye on him.
Kip offs the cell, goes to the closet and unpacks his AR-15, makes sure it's in good order, packs it in a duffel bag. Exterior, alley in Eugene, Oregon, day. An elderly albino man, 70s, bald and wrinkle-faced, one eye smashed in from a wound long ago, limps down an alley to dump trash in a dumpster. Smithy watches him from behind a fence, checking to see if he's alone. He takes his AR-15, attaches a sound suppressor. He waits until the man returns from the dumpster, then blasts him. The man falls dead. Smithy cowers behind the fence, dismantles the rifle, stuffs it in his duffel bag. No one comes. So he rushes forward, takes out chalk, and hastily writes beside the body and pool of blood, "Space alien." Then he strolls down the alley to the street and joins pedestrians there. Interior, Julie's apartment, evening. Julie's mother, Sarah Porter, 50s, cooks while Ginny plays. Julie enters, her backpack slung over her shoulder.
Hi, Mom. I'm here.
Sarah comes from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron.
You're late.
I've been wandering around the hills near campus.
Julie slings her backpack onto the sofa. Sarah's worried.
The man I love. There are complications.
Sarah's expression saddens.
And who is the man?
Ishi Banesa, my professor. I've told you about him.
Yes. And I know of his family. From Santa Fe?
Well, it's impossible for us.
I guess all those fish in the ocean will know?
No.
Julie goes over to Jimmy, kisses him. He kisses back and returns to playing. Julie flops on the sofa, takes the control and ons the TV. Coverage of the Moon Project.
Go on home, Mom. I'll be fine.
Julie hard clicks the control to other channels until she finds a comedy with laughter.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Sarah takes off her apron and picks up her purse. Julie clicks to ACN TV, anchor Greg Quincy at the desk.
Killing a man he thought was a space being.
An image of the words "space alien" on the sidewalk flashes on the TV, beside a police body chalk outline and blood.
Police seek information about the person or persons who killed him.
God, it can't be Ishi.
Sarah, now at the door, stops, then comes to Julie, confused. The TV goes back to Greg in his anchor's seat.
And in Chicago, a woman from Fiji called police on a man for stalking her, saying she was a space alien. We'll have more on similar attacks around the world when we return.
Julie frantically clicks to other channels.
Why would it be? Just call him.
Julie pulls her cell and calls. It goes to message.
I'm going to his house. Could you?
I'll stay with Jimmy.
Exterior, Ishi's home, night. Julie stands outside Ishi's front door. Yaris opens.
Yes, Julie?
Is Ishi home?
Why, no, he'll be at campus. Did you try to call him?
Yes, his cell went on to message.
Strange. He puts silence for class, but he doesn't have one for tonight.
Interior, Ishi's office, night. Julie stands outside Ishi's office, notices it's dark under the door, but knocks anyway. Jeff approaches.
Hi, Jules. Heard you used to be working with me on Linda's Mayan project.
Yeah, have you seen Dr. Banesa?
Jeff shrugs a no, shaking his head. Interior, Ben's home, Portland, Oregon, evening. Ben looks at the photos on his cell Kip sent him of Roberto. One in a curandero serape, the other at the rally. He sighs, punches a number. It goes to message.
Ben here. Keep your cell on, for Christ's sake. I got your photos, and that's no space alien. It's a Mexican medicine man with burn scars on his face. Stand down, Kip. Smithy just killed a man, mistaking him for an alien. If they catch him, we'll have to go deep.
Interior auditorium, night. Ishi's face is red, as are the faces of George and other students, reflecting the super wildfire on the movie screen. Ishi and students watch frightening images of wildfires, dead crops, drought-starved Africans. Exterior campus walkway outside the auditorium, night. On the wall outside the auditorium is a montage poster of a hurricane, a wildfire, drought-dead crops, and a flooded city. Slashed across it in chiller font, The Global Warming Horror Show, Thursday, 6 p.m. Ishi emerges from the auditorium with others, including George and Environmental Club students. In the opposite direction comes Roberto in his guard uniform. Kip, with duffel bag, follows well behind. Ishi stops and greets Roberto. The others move on.
Hi, Roberto. Working late tonight?
Evening shift.
Join me for dinner in the cafeteria.
Special duty. Rain check.
Roberto continues in the opposite direction of Ishi and the crowd. Kip follows, far behind. As he passes, Ishi calls out.
Kip, how you doing?
Kip pauses, glances at Ishi, then at the path Roberto takes.
Professor Banesa, fine.
Did you choose a major yet?
Criminal justice.
I hope linguistics. You were near top in my intro course. But CJ needs bright students too.
Kip notices Roberto rounding a corner, mumbles.
Yeah, well, I had to think of job prospects.
Kip moves on, following Roberto. Ishi goes in the opposite direction with the flow of the crowd. From a distance, Julie sees Ishi and calls out.
Professor Ishi!
Ishi turns and heads toward her. Julie runs toward him.
I was all worried.
What?
Julie's trembling. Ishi holds her arms to soothe her.
Someone has killed a man thinking he was a space being. I didn't get the details. I thought it was...
Oh, no. No, it's my fault for not... I should have made it public.
You can't make it public. Not now. Bill.
Julie, I can't have them kill innocent people when I'm
Ishi?
the one...
No. No, no.
It's my duty, Julie. Narlo Earth has given us so much.
Exterior, lonely dark corridor between two buildings. Night. Kip follows Roberto more closely. Suddenly, Roberto stops, whirls around, and speaks with a commanding voice.
I'm not the one you're looking for, and I'll never tell you who he is. Get rid of your weapon.
Kip halts, taken aback.
I'm just going to class.
9 o'clock? If I ever catch you again on campus carrying such a weapon,
He glances at the duffel.
you'll be arrested and expelled. Don't ruin your life, mijo.
Kip backs away slowly, in a state of shock.
I'm informing the guards. They'll be monitoring you.
Kip turns and exits the campus, half jogging. Exterior, interior, campus parking lot, Kip's car. Night. Kip loads his duffel into the trunk, gets into his beater car, takes out his cell, taps a number. Intercut, Kip in car, Ben at home.
It's Kip. I've been trying to reach you. I must have silenced myself in class and forgot. You didn't do anything drastic. No, but look here, Kip. The guy's not a space alien. I know, I followed him. He told me he was not the one I was looking for, as if he knew what I was up to. He knew I was carrying a weapon. It was weird, I tell you. Probably just a guess. But these curanderos can be psychic. There was a space alien here in Taos, I'm sure. This is something. I can't help anymore. He said he's going to have me monitored. Okay, I'll have some savers converge on Taos.
Interior, Ishi's home office, night. Ishi puts a label on a manuscript box. Yaris enters.
I'm sending this tomorrow to the publisher and calling NASA.
Interior, exterior, Hank's apartment, city street, night. Hank, with his long-range rifle with night vision scope pointed out his window, is looking through crosshairs of the scope 2 stories below at a New York street corner, opposite side of the street. Chin Sun, with baby clutched to her chest, and husband Kim, late 20s, stand under a city light waiting for the traffic signal to change. The crosshairs find them.
They're coming home. May have been meeting with the other aliens.
You're not going to.
Hank briefly turns to Francis.
I reported them to authorities. Nothing. This one's for Sam Voorhees.
I'm scared. A guy mistaken man in Oregon for a space alien, and now the police are after him.
Hank turns back and looks through the scope out the window.
No mistaking these space aliens.
Outside the window, Hank sees a police officer come and stand next to the couple, obstructing Hank's target. Hank lowers his rifle. When the light changes, the police officer and couple cross the street, disappear out of Hank's sight. Hank lowers his rifle. Heavy sigh. Then his cell on the coffee table goes into reveille ring. Francis picks it up.
Yes, he's here. It's Ben.
Hank sets his rifle down and takes the cell.
You, Ben. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can get off in a few days. Okay.
Hank offs his cell and turns to Francis.
They have a lead on an alien for sure in Mexico. They need a sharpshooter. I said I'd go.
Don't go, Hank. What if those aliens have dangerous weapons? I don't want you to get killed.
And what about soldiers who die fighting? Sometimes we have to take chances, even sacrifices.
Interior, Ishi's home, morning. Ishi at the dining table with his landline phone, the manuscript package, and an old envelope with a number scribbled on the back. He punches the number on the phone.
You've reached NASA's Moon Finding Hotline. Please visit our website for updated information on the discovery. If this is to report a sighting of an extraterrestrial, contact the FBI. Otherwise, press 1.
Ishi presses 1. Intercut with Interior Phone Bank at NASA, morning. 4 operators work the phones. Tom, 30s, answers his.
NASA Moon Finding Hotline.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ishi Banesa. I have information about the space beings.
Tom covers his receiver with his hand and whispers to Susan, 40s, beside him.
Another one. Sir, you'll have to call the FBI.
No, I don't want innocent people killed. The public has to know that I am the space being. We didn't come to invade or to do harm.
Tom covers the receiver, speaks to Susan.
Another doozy. Okay, sir, we don't get many calls like this, so I don't know what to tell you except don't advertise it. Some people are skittish.
Have you gotten calls from other space beings?
Not many. One claimed to be from Mars, another from Alpha Centauri.
You don't understand. This is not a prank. People need to know.
Like I said, we can't deal with your type of concern.
Let me talk to the head of linguistics team. I'll send my translations of the moon writings.
Tom looks to Sally, now focused on this call. He shrugs.
I don't have the number.
Okay. Thanks anyway.
Ishi clicks off. Tom turns to Sally.
Should I send this up the ladder? Give his number, or that he's from Taos, New Mexico?
He's just a disturbed person. But isn't a linguistics team there,
Interior, Portland Airport, day. Ben is in line to board his plane on his cell.
Hey, Smithy. There might be a job for you. Yeah. Meet us in Albuquerque. And don't tell the guys I called you.
Exterior, Albuquerque International Sunport, evening. Kim is in his beater car at a remote vacant space in the long-term parking lot. 2 SUVs have converged near his car. Nooks, 40s, is checking the large case in the back of his SUV, filled with AR-15s and other weapons. 10 other men are sitting in the 2 SUVs. Ben approaches, wheeling his suitcase, greets the men in the vehicles, shakes hands with Nooks, who speaks to the group.
Rendezvous at my home.
Interior, Nooks' home, Albuquerque, night. Working class home. The 15 sit or stand around the living and dining area, Ben in the center. 3 on a bench near the window are college age, Arlie, Sut, and Mick in college-type clothes, backpacks at their feet.
Some of us will go up to Taos tomorrow. Get familiar with the area. Arlie, Sut, Mick, you'll pass as college students. I think, Sut, you actually are one. Of course, Kit, you'll stay at his place. He can advise from behind the scenes. The rest will go to Santa Fe as backup. Monday, the college guys will follow the curandero. So what he talks to.
Kip stands up.
I've been burned. He knew I was following him, and why? He's a psychic, so be careful. There are limits, even to psychics. Follow him. Pretend you're going to class. If you're becoming obvious, call a team member to take over.
Ben pulls out 3 listening devices, gives them to the 3.
Listening devices. It'll look like you're listening to music.
Ben's cell rings. He answers.
Yeah. Be there in an hour.
He offs his cell.
So, once we've confirmed who the space alien is, we'll call in the backups. Any questions?
Interior, Ishi's home, night. Ishi paces, worried. Yaris looks up from her rocking chair.
I don't know what to do. First thing Monday, I have to go to NASA's contact information from Edward. It'll be like pulling teeth from a bear dog.
The story of the greedy bear dog.
Exterior, Amazon rainforest, day. Flashback. A light brown Venusian, smaller mohawk spikes, panic runs along a swamp, gives a horrified look back at a fierce 400-pound bear dog, lunging on him with open jaw and vicious fangs. It catches him, tears into his flesh, blood all around. Giant Purosaurus crocodile eyes peer from the swamp as bear dog feasts unawares. Suddenly, the 40-foot croc springs from the water and chomps down on the bear dog. Interior, Ishi's home, night, present. Ishi looks at Yaris, exasperated.
Not now, grandmother.
Do not see those bear dogs went extinct. Even Crocosaurus, but we survived.
Barely. Bear dogling.
Ishi returns to worried mode. Exterior, Albuquerque International Sunport, night. Ben and Nooks wait in the parking lot near Nook's SUV as Hank strides up, pulling his carry-on.
Brought my night vision scope.
I have the Savage.
Gestures to the SUV's 3rd seat. Hank peers in to view the long-range rifle. Exterior, Taos University entrance, day. Arlie, Sut, and Mick, keeping well apart from each other, enter the university through the archway along with a crowd of students and faculty. Ishi is among the crowd. Interior, Edward Olin's office, day. Ishi peers in. Edward looks up, stern expression.
Ishi, I was about to call you.
Ishi walks in with questioning expression.
The tenure committee decided against you.
The decision wasn't for 2 months. I just mailed my book manuscript.
There were other considerations.
Did NASA contact you?
Edward looks daggers at Ishi.
Yes. Seems you contacted them, but that's another matter. It's your relationship with female students.
Oh, that. Well, I was thinking of moving on anyway. Got things to do. I need Dr. Joyner's number.
Look, she wants you on the moon team, so you're on until your contract's up. But there's no need for you to contact her directly.
Did she say anything about me?
Such conceit. They just want to bark up all the trees at this point.
Okay, I'll be on the team, and I'll send my Vita out. But I need her number. It's about something else.
Edward jots down Nora's email, shoves it at Ishi.
Her email. But if you have any ideas about the moon writings, pass them through me first.
Yes, certainly.
Interior, Ishi's office, day. Ishi's composing an email when George comes to the door.
Yes, George?
All set for PowerShift in DC. Can we count you in?
I want to go, but it's crazy.
I'll put you on the manifest. There are plenty of seats. And Julie plans to come.
Good. She can stand in for me. If...
No one can stand in for you, Dr. Banesa.
George leaves, and Ishi gets back to typing. Later, Ishi stares blankly out his open door. Julie enters.
Close the door.
Julie complies, then sits down across from Ishi.
I've just emailed my manuscript and translations to NASA. The truth is about to hit the fan.
Julie gives a brief smile, then looks worried.
Also, I want to let you know that I didn't get tenure. think I'm having an affair with a student.
Julie boils.
Whoa, I'll set them straight.
Ishi waves the air in dismissal.
Don't bother. He didn't give a name anyway. I plan to go on to something else, now that this chapter of my life is closing. Besides, it sort of makes me look like a Don Juan, if that's what those bags of bones think.
Sexy Ishi. But this chapter, The Venusians Among Us, is far from closing. It's just about to open. I'm worried for you and Yaris.
The important thing is they don't kill any more innocent people.
Exterior, Taos University, day. Roberto patrols the student commons, the outside cafe area. He stops to talk to a group of students at a table. Scott, with listening device, sits down at a table, glances at Roberto, then takes his notebook and jots information. Moments later, Roberto leaves the patio area and heads away from the commons on a path to the side of the quad. Sut calls on his cell. Moments later, Arlie emerges from a path that dovetails into Roberto's path and follows him at a distance. Roberto stops to talk to a Latino gardener pulling weeds from a flower bed. Arlie stops to ask a college girl a question, then sits on a bench, looks away from Roberto, then at him and the gardener, gets out his notebook, jots notes, calls on his cell. Mick, near a building, receives the call. Moments later, Roberto continues up the path toward the Linguistics Institute. Sut stretches, gets up, and follows. Roberto sees Ishi coming in the opposite direction, stops him, and takes him to an arbor area on the side of the path. Sut continues on the path, slows as he passes Roberto and Ishi, catching some of their conversation.
Yes, I know about the crazies. I saw a poll. 23% fear space beings and 34% fear crazies, mistaking them for space beings.
Space alien hunter followed me. Took a wild guess that's what he was up to and that he had a weapon. We were told to check for such guys. Bingo, his face said guilty.
As Sut walks out of range, Mick comes in the opposite direction, passes him, and catches more conversation.
Kip Davis? He's an all-good student. Hard to believe.
Look, Professor, I know you're a special person.
I know you know. Soon all will know. I've contacted NASA.
Anyway, he's after you. He's under surveillance, but be careful.
Ishi nods, then heads back down the path. Interior, NASA conference room, day. Skype screens off, other screens with moon stills. Nora, Sandra, 50s, and Harvey, 40s, sit at the table shuffling printouts of Ishi's email and translations.
Have you looked at his manuscript and translations?
Sandra and Harvey give emphatic yes.
Dr. Banesa is a reputable linguist. I think we should believe him.
That's my take.
It might be a Piltdown hoax.
Well, there's things that haven't been found yet, like the cremation heap near the spaceship.
So if they find it... Is there a small mound near the spaceship out the starboard side?
Interior, NASA Control Center, Houston, day. The center screen shows Jacob and Anne searching inside the living quarters of the spaceship. 12 of the 20 consoles have officers monitoring them, Art at the director's console in the rear. Nora, Sandra, and Harvey sit in the rear viewing room, Nora at the mic. Art twists to see Nora.
Yes?
Could you have them dig into that?
There's no time. I need to wrap it up and come home.
This is important. We've had communication with someone who says there's a cremation heap there.
Okay. Attention crew, could someone look into that mound near the spaceship?
Front screen, Jacob looks up.
I'll go.
And take a shovel.
And take a shovel.
Later, front screen, Jacob is at the mound outside, digging. He comes across some bones and ashes, and more bones.
Okay, I found plenty of bones and what look like ashes. But you can't have a fire without oxygen.
What if you used rocket propellant?
Art twists toward Nora, astonished, speaks to her on the mic.
That might work. Where the hell did you get all these ideas?
From a Venusian here on Earth.
Interior, NASA conference room, day. Nora, Sandra, and Harvey, a bit jittery, take their seats.
So, what do we know?
Dr. Banesa wants the public to know that he's the only Venusian. I'll have to go through channels.
Later, Nora alone in the room, 2 Skype screens active, Rich Howard and Kurt Toms, their seal logos behind them.
We need to detain and debrief him.
What?
Of course we'll meet him.
Arrest and interrogate.
He gave us his translations in book. We forwarded them to you.
I got them.
He needs to keep translating. He's a U.S. citizen and has rights.
Do space aliens have rights?
He reached out to us.
He's a professor, not a criminal.
We need to do a press release about him to stop attacks on innocent people. That's what he wants.
When our agents contact him, we'll see about a press release. Meanwhile, you are not to contact him. Understood?
Interior, Taos motel room, evening. Arlie, Sut, and Mick sit on the 2 beds. Ben stands. Hank stands in the corner with his long-range rifle.
I agree this professor is what we're looking for. He practically said so himself.
I can take him out tonight.
No. We need to plan our action carefully. Learn more about him and if there are others. Where's Kip?
He has class tonight.
Ben's cell rings. He answers.
Yo, Nooks. What? We don't want him here. Oh, so that's it. Okay, bring him along.
Ben offs his cell, turns to the men.
Smithy's with Nooks and the guys. Daffy's threatened to quack, and if we don't let him in on it.
Interior, Julie's apartment, evening. Julie is with her mother. Jimmy is glued to cartoons.
I know Dr. Banesa comes from a fine family devoted to service.
As you taught me to be.
And I'm sure he's a very fine man, but I'm worried about your involvement with him. He's old enough to be your father.
He is not. Besides, Dad was 19 years older than you.
And I've had a hollow pit in my stomach for years. I don't want...
Dad died fairly young of cancer. We can't predict what...
I just want you to be happy.
I know, Mom, but we're not involved. He's my favorite professor and a good friend who may be in trouble. And one of his problems means we can never marry, okay? You have your grandson.
Sarah, puzzled, shakes her head.
Now, about Power Shift, can you take care of Jimmy?
That's always a pleasure.
Sarah picks up her coat and purse. Later, Julie at her computer reads Ishi's book. She pages down to Chapter 2, the first Narlo Earth settlement.
The first year was the most difficult without tools or weapons. Many died from diseases unknown on Venus and from bear dog and Perusaurus crocodile attacks. The population dwindled to 73. The council, led by Governor Hanno, made it mandatory that Venusians marry and bear children.
Exterior, Venusian settlement, Amazonia. Day. Flashback. An opening in the rainforest. Huts encircle a gathering place. Hanno stands near a heraldic staff pole in the center. 30 Venusians, Sereniki and Marikana, sit on logs. 40 stand in the rear, including Pernak, Komen, and Raptisik.
We must carry on our Zorkazan heritage in this new world. So the unmarried must select a mate.
What about you, Captain Hanno?
My wife died long ago. And since there are more men than women, some of us have to remain unmarried.
Old Marikana stands up.
I'll take you, Captain Hanno.
Everyone laughs.
And I would gladly accept Marikana. Since you're past childbearing age, you need not suffer a husband.
The laughter increases. Princess Sereniki stands.
I'll take you, Captain Hanno.
The laughter ceases.
Sweet Sereniki, you are but a child, and there are many young men.
Raptisik steps forward.
I, Raptisik, carried her through the water. I select the princess.
Komen pushes forward.
Raptisik's a clown, not fit for Sereniki. I select her.
Raptisik turns to Komen in anger and lashes out at him. They come to blows. The others pull them apart.
But I spoke first. And I select Captain Hanno.
Captain Hanno approaches Sereniki and takes her hands, his eyes filled with love.
And I select sweet Sereniki.
The crowd cheers. Raptisik and Komen, chagrined, lower their heads. Interior, Julie's apartment, night. Julie leans back in her chair, looks away from the computer, then at her watch. She gets out her cell and calls.
Ishi, is everything all right?
Intercut with Ishi's home office.
we're all fine.
I was reading your book, the part where Captain Hanno married the Zor-Kazan princess who bore him 7 children. Are you?
Yes, I am a descendant. That is in the Hanno clan. Now, Julie, as a linguist, you should be reading the chapters on Venusian language. That's the interesting part.
Not in my books.
They laugh. Then Ishi becomes serious. On his computer is Edward Olin's dissertation, Egyptian semigrammic iterations of hieroglyphs at Karnak. It is in plague text program.
I found something with a program used to check plagiarism in term papers. Much of Edward's dissertation is from an obscure book by a James Hipkiss.
What?
I'm calling Linda to follow up. We've all been wondering about his lack of expertise in some areas.
Interior, NASA conference room, day. Nora is alone in the room, Rich on a Skype screen.
I'm ticked about Kurt commandeering this whole thing with Dr. Banesa.
You didn't contact?
No, I'm not one to buck the system.
But this does amount to an interagency jurisdiction dispute. The president assigned Kurt to,
And we're to oversee the moon translations.
Right. We need resolution.
Interior, exterior, Ishi's house, day. 2 savers view Yaris in the greenhouse. Saver 1 stays back and snaps photos of the house. Saver 2, avoiding Yaris, slips into the house, while in the greenhouse, Yaris speaks on her cell.
Good, Sylvia, yes. As I told your assistant. No joke.
Exterior, Taos University, day. Arlie approaches Kip near the commons. In the distance, a campus guard is keeping his eye on Kip. Arlie passes Kip without looking at him, speaks quietly.
Meeting at the motel at 5 and turn on your damn cell.
Interior, Taos Motel, large suite, evening. In the room, Arlie, Sut, Mick, Ben, Hank, 8 men on Save's backup team in army fatigues, toting arms, and Smithy. Ben stands up, upstaged by the frantic Kip.
I tell you, Dr. Banesa can't be our target. He's a great guy. Students love him. We have it on tape from bugging his house. And that house is weird.
Ben shows Kip a photo of Ishi's home on his cell.
It's Earthship House. The house is famous for them. Anyway, it's an isolated place with plenty of cover. You're not planning... Sut, you keep Kip company.
Kip heads to the door. Sut draws his pistol on Kip.
Take him for a slow ride to the Santa Fe Motel.
Sut slings his jacket over his pistol and ushers Kip at gunpoint out the door. Kip calls back to them.
You're making a big mistake, even if Dr. Banesa is a space alien.
After the door shuts behind them, Ben continues.
So, here's our plan.
Interior, Ishi's home, night. Julie is at the dining table with Ishi. Yaris watches TV.
You have to come to Power Shift.
I still haven't heard from NASA.
Call Nora. I have her cell number.
Julie gets out her cell, goes down the contact list.
Isn't it a bit late?
Julie smiles, taps the number, hands the cell to him.
Hello, Dr. Joyner.
Intercut with Nora in her Houston home.
Yes?
I'm Dr. Ishi Banesa. I emailed you.
Oh, I'm not supposed to contact you.
I'm using a friend's cell. I just wanted to know. I'd like to go on a trip and...
By all means, go. I shouldn't tell you this, but the FBI is going to detain and debrief you. And if the trip is important...
It is. It's...
I don't need to know the details. I'm with you, Dr. Banesa. Hopefully, someone will stop this madness.
Ishi taps off the cell and hands it to Julie. Yaris is now looking at them.
It's on. I'm going, but my grandmother...
Maybe she can stay with my mother.
Ishi nods. The doorbell rings, giving Ishi a start. Dejected, resigned to whatever fate, he goes to answer it, muttering.
Probably the FBI.
Yaris looks a bit guilty. Ishi opens on Roberto in his guard uniform.
Checking to see if you're okay.
Ishi gives a nervous laugh.
You and Julie. Yes, we're fine.
Roberto leaves. Exterior, Ishi's home, night, continuous. Roberto gets in his car and drives away. The Savers park their cars half a block away, quietly make their way to Ishi's house and surround it. Nooks and Hank climb the hill and hide behind a boulder about 200 yards from Ishi's home. Through Hank's scope, Yaris in her rocking chair, Ishi and Julie at the table. Interior, Ishi's home, night. Rustling noise from outside.
What's that?
Coyotes, they come to scavenge. They fear us more than we fear them.
Glass-breaking crash from the direction of Ishi's studio. Ishi, Julie, and Yaris suddenly fear-stricken. Voices from outside. Ishi jumps up.
You two, stay put.
Ishi heads toward his art studio. Art studio. Smithy with his AR-15 has crashed through a large window. Living room. The doorbell rings. Julie and Yaris cringe. Julie gets up and heads to the door. Hallway. Ishi ducks into a room, comes out with a baseball bat. Living room. Julie looks through the peephole, then cracks the door, looking back at Yaris, headed toward the studio.
Yaris, it's that news lady, Sylvia.
Yaris turns, heads toward the front door. At the door, Sylvia Solis, 40s, local TV news co-anchor, and cameraman Jim, 20s, African-American, videotaping.
Did you know there are men with guns surrounding the house?
AR-15 blasting noise from the studio. Art studio. Smithy is blasting the paintings, Captain Hano first. Ishi enters, bat raised. Smithy freezes. Ishi's voice, stern.
Looking for space aliens?
Smithy nods.
I'm the only one here. The others are human, visitors.
Smithy, mouth agape, lowers his rifle. Ishi, an angry parent persona, steps forward and grabs it from Smithy.
Let me take this off your hands.
Ben bursts into the studio. Ishi points the rifle at him. Ben throws his rifle to the ground, hands up.
Don't shoot. You don't mean any harm. This guy, he's crazy.
Outside the house in front, 2 police cars arrive. 4 police get out, guns ready. Officer Freeman, 40s, and Officer 2 enter the house, pushing past Sylvia on the porch. The other 2 go around.
Down the hall, shooting!
Freeman and Officer 2 rush down the hall.
We called the police. We weren't sure if those guys around the house were guards or what.
Studio. The 2 police rush in. Ishi drops the AR-15, backs away.
This is my house. They broke in.
The police aim their guns at Smithy and Ben, who raise their hands. Officer Freeman speaks to Ishi.
I know. My daughter took a class from you.
Smithy lowers his hands, advances, confused.
We got him, the space alien.
Halt!
Smithy keeps advancing, as if a victor. Freeman and Officer 2 slam Smithy to the ground. Officer 2 putting his knee on Smithy's back. Freeman handcuffing him.
What are you doing? I'm not the alien!
Outside, in front. The other police round up savers, catching those who try to flee. 2 more squad cars and a paddy wagon arrive. Hank and Nooks lay low, remain undetected. Yaris and Julie, now out in front, are trembling. Sylvia, too. The camera keeps rolling. Ishi joins them in front.
How did you know to...
A woman named Yaris called. She said you're a space being from Venus.
Ishi shoots Yaris a look.
We thought it was a prank, but the news cycle was in a slump, so...
Yaris steps forward.
The government's so slow, Ishi.
Ishi sighs, then hugs Yaris.
You saved us.
The police are now herding savers into the paddy wagon. Hank and Nooks sneak away as the police search the hills. Freeman and 2 other officers approach Ishi and the group. Jim keeps videotaping.
We'll need statements. It's going to be a long night.
Officer, if I might just...
Not now, Sylvia. I need to get your statement too. And Jim's.
He nods to Jim. Ishi winks at Sylvia.
I'll give you an interview tomorrow about us Venusians.
Exterior, the hills near Ishi's home, night. Hank and Nooks evade the police and sneak back to their cars.
That space alien's headed to D.C. I'll take care of him there.
He called the old woman grandmother.
You take care of her. We can't depend on the police. That's for sure. Just remember Sam.
They get into the cars and drive away. Exterior, interior, Ishi's home, morning. Outside, a couple of police patrol around the house. Art studio. Workers repair the window. One shakes his head in dismay at the ruined paintings as Ishi goes through the damage.
Anyway, I sent photos of these to the publisher. I'll do them over. Even better.
The doorbell rings. Living room. Ishi opens the door to Kip.
Professor, are you okay? I tried to warn you, but this guy kept a gun on me. When we saw the news this morning, he fled. I think they...
Whoa, what are you talking about?
I was looking for space aliens. Only looking, but Smithy, if he escaped...
They got Smithy.
Kip nods and sighs relief.
I wanted to become a policeman. I can't have this on my record.
I'll vouch for you, Kip. Worst case, you can become a linguist.
Thanks, sir. You're great. Are you?
Yes. My ancestors came from Venus. We'll talk later.
Kip nods and leaves with a thanks again. Later, outside, Ishi is loading a carry-on into his trunk. Sylvia comes up the walkway.
Dr. Banesa, we contacted NASA and they confirmed that you are
Venusian?
Yes. After the attack, they couldn't keep it from the public and gave us enough to start writing stories on you. But you said you'd give us an interview, and our affiliate network is sending a reporter.
Ishi looks at his watch and sighs. Yaris comes out.
I'm late for class, and I'll be leaving from campus at 5 for DC. I know. Why don't you come along on our trip? An exclusive with a bona fide space being from Venus.
He winks and smiles.
How about that?
Great.
Meet us in parking lot C. Julie's mother will check in on you, but I wish you'd go to her place. She invited you.
Sylvia leaves. Ishi starts toward his car.
I'll stay here. I can take care of myself. Wait.
Ishi stops. Yaris comes up to him, puts the palm of her hand to his forehead, brings it solemnly to her lips.
I'll be back in 5 days.
Please.
Ishi sighs, then puts the palm of his hand to her forehead and brings it to his lips. He then hugs and kisses her.
Everything will be fine.
Minutes later, as Ishi drives away, Nooks pulls his car onto Ishi's street. A saver is with him. When he sees Ishi's home and the police, he pulls down a side street. Inside Nook's car,
A route at night from the hill. Are you good at 200 yards?
the saver shakes his head, no.
Not as good as Hank. I need practice. Maybe tomorrow night.
Later, Officer Freeman is in front, talking to some neighbors. Through the window, Yaris is watching TV. A car drives up. 2 feds get out.
We're looking for an Ishi Banesa. Is this his home?
Fed 2 swaggers toward the door. Freeman stops him with,
Yes, but he's gone to some event in DC. Not sure what flight he's on. We're looking after his home.
exterior campus parking lot, late afternoon. 12 students, George and Julie, group near the small Taos University tour bus. The bus driver loads carry-on suitcases into the luggage compartment. Some students, MOS, grouse, shoot disturbed glances at the ACN news reporter, Laura Preston, Sylvia and Jim, standing apart with carry-ons. At the other end of the parking lot, Ishi, with briefcase, hurries towards his car. Linguistics professor Linda, 10 yards behind, rushes towards him.
Ishi, there's been a development
Ishi at his car turns, worried, as Linda catches up.
about Edward's plagiarism. He's been terminated. I'm interim dean,
That's wonderful.
and I made sure the president vacate the decision against your tenure.
Ishi nods, opens the hatchback, takes out a small carry-on.
And there's more.
The bus engine goes on. Ishi looks. Students are boarding.
The bus is leaving. We'll talk when I get back. But if it's about me being a... Did NASA contact you?
Yes. You go, we'll talk later.
Ishi nods, heads to the bus with his suitcase and briefcase. Jim jumps into action, videotaping Ishi as he approaches. Ishi goes to Julie, whispers,
Good news. Hands-on was fired.
Yay! The students fear the nosy news people will derail our plans.
Sylvia, Laura behind, and Jim, shooting, come to Ishi.
Dr. Banesa, Laura Preston, ANC reporter, she'll be taking over.
Ishi shakes Laura's hand.
Thanks for inviting us on your trip. Is it for the students to learn how the government works?
No, it's about climate change.
He winks at the students.
Students around the nation converge to lobby the government.
Laura and Sylvia are taken aback. Jim gets it on videotape. A smile creeps over his face.
Oh, I see. Yes, it should be interesting.
Okay, bring your suitcases, hurry.
Laura and Jim take their suitcases to the driver. George approaches Ishi. The students gather round.
What an honor to have you with us, Doctor. A Venusian who cares more about Earth than Earthlings.
And at long last, media attention.
Unbelievable.
Ishi smiles, and then he goes and whispers to the bus driver.
Some folks might be after me.
I understand, sir. I saw Sylvia's report on the news.
Exterior Albuquerque International Sunport, evening. The two feds outside departures, one on his cell.
Are you sure? He's going by bus. Do you have the route? Okay. Okay, thanks.
He offs his cell.
They're going through St. Louis. We can catch them there.
No APBs?
It has to be our caller, and that's from Director Thomas himself.
The feds head back into departures. Interior, exterior, bus, evening. The bus travels east on 64. It has a table in the rear across from the toilet and water station. Ishi sits next to Julie across from Laura. Jim is nearby videotaping. The students, in seats in front of them, strain around to listen. George the closest.
Why did your people come to Earth?
Do you know anything about Venus?
The goddess of love?
Ishi and all laugh. Ishi sobers.
But, well, it's closer to the sun. With the sun slowly brightening, it would have become too hot for life by now. But 6 million years ago, my people forced runaway much sooner, as people on Earth are doing today.
Interior, Ishi's home, evening. Yaris, rocking, knitting. Officer Freeman lets Sarah and Jimmy in the front door. Yaris gets up.
Stopped by to check in. I'd wish you'd come to my place.
I'm all good here, just tired.
Did you come from Venus?
My ancestors did. See out the window? The brightest star, Venus.
Jimmy rushes to the window. Sarah and Yaris follow.
I didn't know. I understand Julie now. Her and Jimmy's attachment to you both. Especially you, Yaris.
I'm so glad Ishi has good friends.
Yaris puts her hand on Jimmy and points to Venus in the sky.
See? We call it Zorkis.
Wow. Are you going there?
No one can go there now.
Jimmy gets attached, like to his little puppy, roly-poly.
Jimmy looks at Sarah, then Yaris, sad.
He went away.
But soon I'll be going to the happiest place in the world.
Disney World?
Oh, much better. I have to go alone, but you shouldn't be sad because I'll be so happy there. Ishi won't listen.
Sarah mouths a thank you. Interior, exterior, bus, evening. Twilight. The bus passes Eagle Nest on 64. Ishi and Julie across the bus table from Laura. Jim videotaping.
Our cultural hero, Captain Hanno, made it almost a religion not to harm Earth.
Exterior, Benesan Settlement, Amazon. Day. Flashback. A thriving town. Buildings in odd shapes. Ornate decorations, symbols, diamonds, circles, squares. The rainforest beyond. Venusians mill around. Younger ones are medium brown complected, their mohawk spikes reduced. A platform in the center of a plaza with an unlit funeral pyre. Captain Hanno's body atop. Workers light a small fire in a pot beside the pyre and position a torch next to it. A civic building at the head of the plaza. Shops around the plaza. Houses on the outer periphery. A blacksmith pounds iron. Weavers with fabrics. Shopkeepers with wares. Farmers bring in produce, fish, tapirs, possums. A gong starts sounding. All stop their work and gather in the plaza, some 500 people, including aged Sereniki. Jadiran, 30s, ascends to the platform and speaks through a diamond-shaped amplifying device. He holds a piece of bark paper with writing. The gong stops.
I, Jadiran, Governor of the Narlos Orchidea, will read Captain Hanno's final wish.
Sereniki and the others wipe tears.
We must never forget Zorkis, but we must carry forward the shame for destroying his life. That is so.
Lamenting wails from elders in the crowd.
That is, so as dreamers now fully awake, we must work to preserve Narlo. Do it no harm.
The gong starts again. Sereniki steps forward, puts the palm of her hand on Hanno's forehead, brings it to her lips, then turns, dips the torch in the fire, and lights the pyre. Interior, Ishi's home, night. Yaris is in her rocking chair. Officer Freeman enters.
Ma'am, you should go to that lady's place. I'm not sure we can fully protect you, especially at night.
You and Ishi, worry warts. But he was brave to call NASA, like our Captain Hano. I'm also brave, officer. This is my home. I'll stay.
Interior, exterior, bus, parking lot. Clayton, New Mexico, night. Students exit the bus, head towards a restaurant. Laura, Julie, and Ishi pass Jim, who types on his laptop.
SCN wants this for the late news.
Exterior, St. Louis Airport, night. The two feds are getting in a rental car. Interior, Hank's apartment, night. Frances is on the sofa with a crying Chin Sun, her arm around her. 2 cups of tea on the coffee table. Hank comes in the front door, puts a suitcase down.
What the?
Her baby died. Where have you been?
I have to pick up some things.
Hank goes to the bedroom and returns with a duffel bag, then angrily clicks on the TV and goes to the arms cabinet. TV, Laura interviewing Ishi.
What about those who say climate change is a hoax?
It's a convenient lie, but I can't fault them, since I myself and my people have been living a lie, passing as humans, afraid to reveal the truth.
Hank unlocks the cabinet and takes out a long-range rifle with scope, starts dismantling it, putting it in the duffel. Frances and Chin Sun are alarmed. On TV, Ishi's sorrowful face.
And it grieves me that because of my convenient lie, innocent people have been harassed, even killed.
As if he's friendly. Damned alien.
Without looking at the disturbed faces of the 2 women, Hank finishes packing and leaves. Interior, Roadstop Restaurant, St. Charles, Missouri, morning. The students are at tables to one side of the restaurant, eating breakfast. Ishi and Julie look beat, as does Laura across the table. Jim, videotaping, focuses on Ishi.
Dr. Banesa, we didn't get much sleep last night. Are you okay?
I'm fine. Call me Ishi.
I think people may be curious to know. That is, you look human. Is it possible?
Phenotypically speaking, due to convergent evolution, we've come to look like humans, but genotypically speaking...
You're in lecture mode, Ishi. These are reporters.
Yes, of course. What I'm saying is we Venusians cannot have children with humans. There have been some intermarriages, but no children.
Julie is shocked, wide awake now.
Do you have some examples?
Ishi smiles, unaware of Julie's shock.
Grandmother's brother, the black sheep of the family, joined Amazon gold miners, then immigrated to California, had a few flings, then married a human woman. He died in her loving arms. She never knew he was Venusian or why they couldn't have children.
Jim's eyes teary, Julie deflated. Laura, sad, brightens.
What about special powers? Do you have any special powers?
Ishi huffs a laugh, unaware of Julie's slump.
Science fiction. I don't even know what's happening next.
Interior, bus, Interstate 70, day. They're on the road again. Julie, in the window seat, is upset, but pretends to sleep. Ishi, next to her, and the reporters are animated in discussion. Ishi glances at Julie, concerned. Exterior, Interstate 70, west of St. Louis, day, continuous. The feds in their rental car wait on the shoulder west of the 270 bypass. When they see the Taos University bus pass, they pull onto the freeway and follow it, 2 cars behind. The bus goes straight on 70, not taking the bypass. Interstate 70 through St. Louis. The bus crosses the Stan Musial Bridge and continues on Interstate 70, the feds 2 cars behind. Interstate 70 east of the Mississippi in Illinois. The bus driver notices in his side mirror the fed's car. He pulls into the left lane, speeds up. Interior, bus, day. Ishi notices the speed up, halts the conversation.
Wait. George, remind the driver.
George goes to the front, speaks to the driver, comes back.
He remembers, but he thinks we're being followed.
Exterior, Interstate 70 west of Highway 111, day. The feds are now 3 cars behind the speeding bus, now 4 cars behind. When a curve in the road comes up, the bus crosses to the right lane and exits at Highway 111. The feds, beginning to speed up, fail to see the bus exit and go straight on 70, then speed up even more. Interior, Fed's car, day.
We missed him. We'll have to go back and search.
Or get him in DC.
Interior, exterior, bus, Cahokia Mounds Historic Site, day. The bus pulls into the parking lot. The students tumble out of the bus. Laura and Jim get up, exit. Jim starts filming the 100-foot-high Monk's Mound. Julie, trapped in the window seat, is waiting for Ishi to get up so she can get out, but he puts his hand on hers.
What is it, Julie? You seem upset.
It's nothing. I'm just tired.
A young person like you. Used to all-nighters, term papers?
I'll rest here. You go.
Ishi gives her a tisk, pulls her up, then leads her out of the bus. Outside the bus, he speaks to the group.
We have 2 hours here at the famous Cahokia civilization.
He checks his watch.
First, go see the orientation film.
Why did we stop here, Ishi?
I always insist we visit this site. It was a vast civilization over a great portion of Eastern America. It collapsed about 700 years ago. Some say from environmental degradation.
Who knew?
The students and reporter head for the center. Ishi taps Julie to come with him toward Monk's Mound. Julie follows. He stops at the base.
What is it? Have I done something?
No, nothing, really. Let's climb the mound. I need fresh air.
They climb up the steps to Terrace 1, then Terrace 2. They reach the top, breathing hard. St. Louis, hazy in the distant background, high-rise buildings, its iconic archway. Ishi turns to Julie.
Okay, now tell me what it is.
He gently touches her trembling arms for a brief moment and looks deeply into her tear-filled eyes.
You told me that Venusians could not marry humans?
I think I told you Venusians couldn't have children with humans.
Julie turns away. Ishi gently turns Julie toward him.
And you told me you wanted to have more children. It's life's greatest joy, you said.
That was when I thought you were the last of the human civilization and that you would want children, especially when I saw how much you took to Jimmy. I wanted to give you children.
Ishi backs away.
Okay, this is complicated. I know you have a schoolgirl crush on me, and I admit that I love you. And I'd be the happiest Venusian man in the world to marry you.
You're the only Venusian man in the world.
And your idea was noble. But under the circumstances as you understand them now...
I love you, Ishi. I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Ishi's concern transforms into happiness. He pulls Julie to him and kisses her softly. She responds with passion. Ishi pulls back and yells.
I'm the happiest man in the world!
Ishi kisses each of her hands and hugs her. By now the students are coming out of the center far below. Interior, exterior, bus, restaurant lot, night. The bus stops in the parking lot. Ishi has fallen asleep with a smile. The students and crew exit. Julie whispers to them.
Let him sleep. I'll bring some dinner back for him.
Exterior, interior, Ishi's home, evening. Nooks on the hill looks through his rifle scope at the police patrolling around the house, then through the window at Yaris in her chair. Sarah arises from the sofa. Jimmy is on the floor near Yaris, playing with the Noah's Ark set. Living room.
You shouldn't come, especially at night. I worry for you and Jimmy.
With all the police around?
Yaris looks over at Jimmy.
That was Ishi's favorite toy.
Be careful, Jimmy. Don't break it. And we have to go now.
Aww.
Jimmy gets up and rushes to Yaris, hugs and kisses her.
Can we play catch tomorrow?
We'll see. I'm so very tired.
Sarah and Jimmy leave. Interior, exterior, bus, restaurant lot, night. Ishi is still asleep, alone on the bus, except for 2 other students sleeping in rows toward the front. Ishi's cell rings, waking him. Groggy, he pulls it out.
Yes. Hi, Linda. No, we're on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. No, just dozing. Yes. Yes.
Julie comes aboard the bus with a bag of food. Long pause in Ishi's conversation.
That's great. That'll work.
He taps off his cell, turns to Julie.
NASA wants TU to establish a center for Venusian studies, and they want me to be its director.
Julie's excited. She sets the bag down and starts pulling out some veggie burgers and fries for Ishi.
That's great, but what about linguistics? Your translations?
Julie, there's a problem if we're in the same department, and you need to finish your PhD. I'll still be translating. My only regret is I plan to leave the past, get into the future, and save this world. But with grandmother and you in Taos, I need to be there.
Julie smiles, kisses Ishi on the cheek.
I'm with you on saving the world. It'll work out eventually.
Spot on, Julie. That's what the good people on Venus said toward the end, but eventually never came, so it never worked out. Do you think anyone will be there to show us to our accommodations?
They're college kids. They'll be up all night.
The authorities will probably be there to take me in, or worse.
Over my raging body.
Whatever happens, Julie, you've made my life complete. I only wish I could have done more.
Exterior, interior, Ishi's house, night. Nooks and the Saver position themselves behind the boulder. Nooks finds through his viewfinder and crosshairs. Yaris, sleeping on her rocking chair, hands across her lap. Inside, a bullet crashes through the window, hits the Noah figure, and scatters the animals. An officer bursts into the house. Outside, police pull arms and rush toward the hill, shooting. Inside, Yaris is awake, but groggy. The officer rushes towards her. She sees the shattered window and Noah figure, shots from outside.
What happened?
They missed you, but you'd better move to a safer area.
I'm so tired, officer. Just let me rest here a little while.
Over the officer's intercom.
Sniper's giving up. Backup's coming.
Exterior, a university parking lot, Washington, D.C., late night. A few students and TV vehicles and crews are assembling at one end of the sprawling 6-acre lot. Very dark, with only a few dim lights. 2 police chat with people there. A car comes up the road, skirts to the far side of the lot. Interior, exterior, car lot, night. Hank drives that car toward a berm, parks near 2 other cars, gets out. The gathering crowd at the other end focuses attention on the inroad and doesn't notice Hank as he takes his duffel, climbs the berm, goes behind some tall bushes on top. 5 students hold their sign, Power Shift. Later, the crowd is now massive. Students, TV news reporters, cameramen, photographers, curious onlookers mill around, excited chatter. 2 more police officers, making it 4. An unmarked van arrives. 2 FBI suits with earbuds get out. Interior, FBI van. FBI man Al, 30s, in a jumpsuit with a headset mic, is manning 3 camera feeds from different points of the scene. Exterior, the berm. Hank scans the crowd with the scope. He spots the 2 suits patrolling the crowd's periphery, looking in all directions.
Damn.
Exterior, University Drive. The bus slows, then turns onto the uphill drive between dark campus buildings. Interior, FBI van. A camera screen shows the bus approaching.
Pulling into the lot.
The van phone beeps. Al picks it up.
Stand down. We're no longer authorized to arrest Ishi Banesa. Court of jurisdiction. Out of jurisdiction. And now, they're investigating Kurt Toms for creating some webpage.
Exterior, lot. The 2 suits, alert, catch sight of the bus entering the lot, but get a message through their earbuds, lower and shake their heads. One throws up his hands. The bus stops, and the police come forward to make a narrow path for exiting students. Berm. Hank readies his crosshairs on the bus door. Outside the bus, George squeezes through the crowd to the Power Shift students. Laura and Jim exit, then Julie. Ishi steps to the bus door, gripping his briefcase. The crowd goes wild. Flashing cameras and media men shoving can't dent Ishi's euphoric smile. Crosshairs on Ishi, but a raised camera light blocks the view. Laura, Jim, and the bus driver push the crowd back as Ishi climbs down. Julie stands next to him.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
George comes back, squeezes through, talks to Ishi.
PowerShift wants you to give the keynote about the Venus warming.
Cameramen videotape and flash photos.
Great. Will do.
Scope crosshairs on Ishi's head. Clear view. Hank shoots. Ishi bends to set down his briefcase. The bullet whizzes just above his head and crashes through a bus window. Ishi pulls Julie down. The crowd cowers. Some run. The feds and police, weapons pulled and shooting, swarm Hank, who drops his rifle and puts up his hands. More reporters and cameramen arrive. The crowd comes back. The police load Hank into a squad car. It drives away. Laura turns to Ishi, speaks loudly so all can hear.
You're a precious part of our world, Ishi. All must understand that and leave Ishi alone. We have to get to safety, but give us a few words.
Ishi clears his throat, glances at Julie, then speaks.
My ancestors came from Venus and enjoyed on us that, as guests on Earth, we are to do it no harm. That's why I'm here at Power Shift, to help save Earth from the fate that befell Venus. Perhaps we all could act as thankful guests on this beautiful planet.
Ishi puts his arm around Julie, gives her a squeeze and a loving look. Interior, Ishi's home, night. Yaris is rocking gently in her rocking chair. Officer Freeman is on the sofa near her. The rocking stops. Yaris's hands fall to her sides. Her head slumps sideways. A peaceful smile graces her face. Fade out. The end.